Brown in motion. He's got another pop pass. Hollywood Brown to the end zone. Touchdown, KC. Holmes searching. Cuts across with a touchdown to Hollywood Brown for the second time in the second half.
So much traffic, you take the far left guy of the bunch and run him all the way across, and Robertson's got to try and weave his way through traffic. There just is no way.
3rd and 10. Jones is there. Can't get away from Emenihue with the sack. And it's Detroit going 3 and out.
May not have gotten a sack, but he was the big winner there. That was exactly what you need your all-pro to do. When everything's on the line, beat your guy fast one-on-one. He did. And now they have to punt. They're too far back.
All right, on Monday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, and Michael Darcy. We had up until 2 o'clock. It is a Victory Monday on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Taking care of business, taking care of the Detroit Lions with the Kansas City Chiefs last night. 913-3810810, taking your phone calls, your thoughts, what you saw, your takeaways from the win last night on Monday Night Football for the Kansas City Chiefs, moving to 3-3. We mentioned when the Chiefs started at 0-2, if they could get to 3-3 by the time Rashee Rice returns before the Raiders game, then you're going to be sitting in pretty good position. And after losing to the Jags, what that win against the Jags would have done is guaranteed the fact that you would have been 3-3. Now it sort of cost you an opportunity to be 4-2. But regardless, they take care of business against the Detroit Lions at home. They were an offense that I was expecting them to look like, quite frankly. What they did in that game against the Lions was not a surprise to me. We talked about it last week. We talked about it on Friday. Certainly injuries are a part of it. But the way this Chiefs offense has been humming, that's what I think they will look like more often than not. And I think way more often than not, that's what the Chiefs offense I'm expecting to look like, especially now that they get Rashee Rice back. This was a game in which after the first drive, I was concerned after the first drive just because I knew what the Lions wanted to do, Sterling, and that was run the football, take the air out of the football, limit the Chiefs' possessions because of some of the injuries in the secondary, and just run the football, run the football, run the football. And that long drive that took, 7 games, I think, worth of time of possession, almost 10 minutes of time of possession, and just running the ball, running the ball, running the ball. It was annoying. It was frustrating. And the whole time you're watching it going, this is like a possession and a half that the Chiefs have lost in this game based on this first drive by the Lions. But from that point forward, the Chiefs essentially dominated the game. They outgained the Lions on the ground. They outrushed them 112-98. And not only that, the 2 running backs for the Lions and the 2 running backs for the Chiefs, Gibbs and David Montgomery combined for 89 yards. Pacheco and Hunt combined for 74. They only won the rushing battle with the 2 running backs by 15 yards in this game. And it started off thinking this is going to be a rough game for the Chiefs defense, and this is going to be an offense that's going to have to go out and score every single time. But what we saw last night, Sterling, is a Chiefs recipe that we haven't seen in a couple of years, where the Chiefs will just go out and outscore a game, outscore a team, to the point that it changes what the other team is trying to do, and it allows Steve Spagnuolo and the Chiefs defense to do more of what they want to do. It takes a little time to get there. Yeah. So the first part of the game, the first quarter, it looks pretty rough. But over the course of 4 quarters, is there a defense that's going to be able to limit the Chiefs' offense to the degree that is going to allow opposing teams to just simply do what they want to do, especially if it's a predominantly running play action like the Lions?
What I find, and yes, that is 100% correct, that this defense is built for playing with a lead. They still are. We've talked in the past, but this Chiefs defense in particular against certain teams, I think the Bills or the Joe Burrow healthy Bengals, I think they can be a team that can come back and still play good football, but when you force Jared Goff, who's a very good quarterback, you know my thoughts on Goff. I think he's very good. But this offense is not built for him to drop back and throw 29 times almost in a row from the second half on. They're built for what they did that first drive. I think it was huge that the Chiefs kept him to a field goal. I know there's some complaints from fans because he scored on a cool play.
Yeah.
But it's illegal.
I know. I hate it when the officials get in the way of officiating correctly.
Like that was
of course it's the Chiefs, and I'm so mad that the officials threw a penalty on a play that was illegal.
It's like the Kadarius Toney offsides.
Yeah.
Like when they then say that play should have been legal because it was awesome.
So
It was close. It was cool. It's a cool play.
Offside. You got to call. You can't just let him get away with that stuff.
And so I just found that, but give the defense credit. They buckled down when they had to after the long-ass drive to 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs responded, and from then on, the foot race started, and the Chiefs won said foot race. And so when we talk about Rashee Rice coming back, and I've seen some people go, well, can he play defensive tackle? Can he play defensive end? Can he do the – well, the answer is no. Can he play slot? Can he – but what he does is he helps the offense score more points.
Mm-hmm.
And this Chiefs defense, as we saw yet again, is better when they play with a lead. Spagnuolo is just a genius when it comes to trying to confuse quarterbacks with these design blitzes and simulated pressures and all. Hell, Nick Bolton looked better as the game went on, by the way. I mean, all the guys. Nick Bolton, by the way, is getting very, very good at these simulated pressures, these fake blitz. Then all of a sudden he does go. I mean, it's getting impressive. So the point remains, Rashee Rice doesn't help you get after the quarterback in that regard, 1v1, but he gives your team a lead, helps your team get a lead, and then all of a sudden Spagnuolo can be the mastermind behind confusing the bleep out of said opposing quarterback.
Yeah, and one of the things that I wanted to touch on, and it was what we talked about last week, and I said, we're going to see something completely different against the Detroit Lions. And that was twice the Chiefs had 4th and short against the Jags, and they punted. Twice they had opportunities to go for it, and they punted. And last night, they did not. They had 4th and 3 in a goal-to-go situation. Like, when does Andy Reid ever do that? When does he ever go for it? You could have kicked the field goal and tied it. You weren't down 7-0. You held them to a field goal. You could have kicked the field goal and tied it, and instead, they go for it.
Doesn't he go for it, I feel like, in big-time games?
But here's the thing, though.
I think he treated this as a big-time game.
Did you see Sam McDowell's column?
No, I did not.
And shout out to Sam McDowell because this is great research for him. Since Mahomes became the organization's starting quarterback in 2018, the Chiefs have faced 4th down with at least 3 yards to go from inside the 10-yard line 25 times in the first half of games. Every single one of those, they've kicked a field goal.
What was the Bengals? That must have been 4th and 2.
Every single one of them, they have kicked a field goal 4th and 3 or longer.
Oh, that was on first half.
And he went for the touchdown. Then he said they faced the same decision inside the 30-yard line 86 times in first halves of their games. 86 times inside the 30-yard line, 4th and 3 or longer. 86 for 86, he kicked the field goal. 86 for 86, he has kicked a field goal. Last night, 4th and 3, he went for it. And here's the other one that I wanted to point out because it wasn't just the Lions. It seems different this year with Andy Reid. And here's the point. In the last 8 seasons, so with Andy Reid, or with Patrick Mahomes, Reid has never attempted 3 4th downs in the first half of a game. He's attempted 2 in the same game just 6 times with Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. 3 of those have come this year. He has attempted 2 or more 4th down attempts in the first half of games as many times this year as he did combined with Patrick Mahomes at quarterback before this year. That's not just one game, right?
Yeah.
That's a different view of let's be a little more aggressive because we have Patrick Mahomes. Let's go and be the team that puts the pressure on the other team the way that some of these other teams have done to the Chiefs. Now, it could be a confluence of events. You're going up against the Eagles and the Lions that go for it a lot, so maybe you're matching their intent, their aggressiveness. And with Butker's struggles right now, you don't just say, let's just kick the field goal and take 3, because you don't know if it's going to be 3 right now or not. And so maybe all of those things combined, But I don't care the reasons, Sterling. I don't care what the reasons are. I care about the fact that he is doing what people have wanted him to do for a long time, and that is it's 4th and short. Put the ball in the hands of 15 and let him go to work. They went for it 3 times. They got 2 of them. I'm fine with every single one of the attempts that they went for.
Yeah.
And they got 2 of 3, and they got points out of them because of it. They didn't get points out of one drive. It's fine. It happens. Whatever. You're not going to get every single 4th down. But I think they're, 11 of 13 on 4th down so far this year? Andy Reid and the Chiefs are. It's pretty legit, which means you should be going for it way more often on 4th and shorts, 4th and 2s, 4th and 3s, on your own, on their side of the field, and maybe even closer to midfield as well.
I guess it depends, too. How many plays do you think you have on those short yardage situations? Like 2-point plays, it's easy to say, yeah, go for 2 every time.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have the plays, then I get that to an extent. I loved the aggressiveness. We've been calling for it, as you mentioned, for years, it feels like. But I liked all the play calls, even the one that didn't.
Even the one that didn't work.
Didn't work. I found that one thinking, okay, maybe you didn't want to run it again because you just ran it with Kareem Hunt. I still think that play works way more times than not because Kareem is so good in those short yardage situations. But I was fine putting in 15's hands on that kind of end-around bootleg because we've seen that play and that style work so many times. Sometimes you tip your cap, but I don't know if that was Butker influenced or not. But I found myself, even if it was Butker influenced, I still liked them going for it in that situation. So it was intriguing to me being, I think a lot of fans, even on Twitter, were like, I don't mind them going for it. I don't mind the play call. They didn't get it, but you're not going to get every single one.
I don't mind the play call at all. And we've talked about the go for it, great idea to go for it, bad play. I don't mind the play call. My issue was, and I tweeted this out at the time, my issue was having Pacheco in the game instead of Kareem Hunt. Because what I tweeted out was, as soon as I saw Pacheco was in the game, I knew they weren't handing it off.
Correct.
And if I knew that, the Lions knew they weren't handing it off because they played for a play action. Everything was covered on that play. Like, they did not sell out for the run up the middle. It was immediate drops and then coverage because Pacheco was in the game. Now, if Kareem Hunt was in the game, I think the Lions probably played a little bit different. I would expect either a run or a pass. Pacheco in the game, 4th and 1, 4th and a long one is like 1.5.
Yeah.
I don't think they're handing it to Pacheco because it's not simply what they do on 4th down. They don't give it to him on 4th and short. That's my only.
It's a good call, by the way.
That's my only pushback on that is the personnel that was in there. But I'm fine with the play call. I'm fine with the play call because you know what? Even that little spin around, hand it to Kareem Hunt up the middle. There's going to be a time when the Chiefs may see a team that overplays that, where he turns around, spins, fakes it, and Xavier Worthy's on the outside, and it's a pitch.
Yeah.
And there's nobody there, and he turns the corner, he runs, and it's a big gain, not just 2 yards on 4th and 1. There's going to be plays off of plays that they do that. So I think they have a number of 4th down plays. It's just which one you want to go to at certain times. But now that we're seeing, and I think now that Andy Reid is seeing it be so successful, I think in his mind, he's even becoming more okay with it in games where he feels like he has to be that aggressive. But also now that you're seeing it happen, there's nothing wrong with putting your foot on the pedal.
Yes.
And just taking out a team early. Because, I don't know, last year, the year before that, 23-24, does he go for the 4th and 3? Or does he just take the 3 and say we're tied 3-3? Defense held them. We can't come away with no points on this possession. But I think last night, difference between the last couple of years is the Chiefs in 24, the Chiefs in, especially in 24. Let's just stick with 2024. The Chiefs in 2024, it felt such a struggle for 4 quarters to get points that can you waste a possession to where you go all the way down the field and come away with 0 after your defense just got manhandled for 11 plays and they went and scored almost a touchdown, but they settled for a field goal. And you go, okay, you know what? We matched. We've got 3 on the board because we can't come away with 0 because if they go down and score a touchdown, now we're down 2 scores and our offense is struggling. Can we outscore this team? I don't know last year Andy Reid makes the same decision. But with the offense this year and looking at it and going, I don't know how often this Lions team is going to stop them from scoring. Okay, well, let's go for it. Let's keep the pressure on because you know what? If we don't get points here and they go down and score and we're down 10-0, we're good because then we're going to go and score a touchdown the next possession. And I haven't felt that way with the Chiefs offense since 2022. It's been 2 full football seasons since I felt like when the Chiefs got the ball, they're going to score a touchdown. When the Chiefs got inside the red zone and goal to go, they're going to find a way to score a touchdown here. It's just simply what they do this year. And there is so much more confidence that I have in watching them. And I think Andy Reid should have that same confidence. I think he does. And I think that leads to going for it more on 4th down, which leads to more aggressive play calling, which leads to more points, which leads to more pressure on the other team, which leads to alleviating pressure on the defense, where the last 2 years the pressure has been on that side of the football, because complementary football, it was more the offense complimenting the defense saying, good job, thank you for helping us out. It wasn't complimentary back and forth. It was, well done, great game, defense. Thank you for going out and helping us win the game because you did what you did. And now complimentary football, both sides playing like that. It's why I've said the last couple of weeks, Sterling, this team's better than what they were last year. Said it all off season. This team's better than what they were last year. They were finding ways to win last year. They've lost some one-score games. Okay. Their 3 wins are all by more than 1 score. Okay, that's fine. They're going to start winning some of those one-score games because offensively, this is different. Rashee Rice coming back only adds to it. And by the way, Sterling, we talked about it in the offseason, and we had pushback for whatever reason, the people that complained that what an idiot Brett Veach is. Why do you give $30 million to Jalen Moore and then draft Josh Simmons? That is dumb. You wasted resources on a tackle, a backup tackle in Jalen Moore for $30 million over 2 years, and then you draft Josh Simmons. And you and I have been on the opposite side of that all off season because how could you possibly watch last year and then complain that the Chiefs have options at tackle? What would last night have looked like if it was Wanya Morris against Aiden Hutchinson on the left side? Instead, it was a guy that was so stupid to pay $30 million. Oh, I bet you appreciate that money last night. I bet you appreciate the strategy in the offseason of throwing numbers at it because you didn't know Josh Simmons was going to be there at 32. So if Jalen Moore had to be the left tackle, I see Jalen Moore playing like, last night, and I go, the Chiefs might have recognized somebody that is a serviceable and maybe even better than serviceable full-time left tackle that when thrown into spot duty that day after, I'm going to guess, not getting much sleep on Saturday night when the birth of his child, he said, took place early in the morning. I'm going to assume Jalen Moore was not tip-top in fully rested and expecting I'm going to be starting tackle tonight against Aiden Hutchinson. I just had my 3rd child, early morning birth. Oh, all right, honey, I got to go to the, what's that? Oh, they're calling me walkthrough because Patrick Mahomes said at walkthrough we knew something was up. He didn't say Saturday night we had an idea that this was going to happen. He said walkthrough on Sunday is when we realized, wait a minute, he's not here. Jalen Moore gets to the field, probably rubbing his eyes. Congratulations. Hey, Jalen, baby number 3, congratulations, dude. Oh, yeah. Oh, she's
Dad
beautiful.
Strength.
Yeah, 100%.
Dad strength.
Gets there and was like, oh, where's Josh? I don't know. He's not here. We're trying to get a hold of him. Interesting. Okay. What's up? Hey, Jalen, you're going to be starting tonight. What's that? You're starting tonight. What? I'm what? You're starting tonight. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Like, I do think that should be offered into his performance last night, how he played, because there's no way in, as Chris Jones would say, HE double hockey sticks, that Jalen Moore got a full night's sleep and was fully rested after the birth of his child early in the morning. I mean, that child's born, you don't go right to bed. I mean, you're probably not, especially if he's then got walkthrough that day. Like, when are you napping? When are you going to sleep? Shout out to Jalen Moore stepping in, and shout out to Brett Veach going, not going to happen this year. We're going to throw numbers at it, and we're going to have answers at left tackle, and we're not going to go rookie to Wanya Morris to signing a guy that was coming off a torn ACL from a year ago to then Joe Tooney at left tackle.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that. We're going to make sure we have answers there. Jalen Moore, he's the best out there, best available. This is the price of doing business in free agency, so we're going to spend the money. And Josh Simmons is there, and we're going to draft him too. And you know what? If the worst thing is they've got a $30 million swing tackle that steps in and plays like that, yeah, sign me up for that. The way that we saw this team. You give Patrick Mahomes time to throw, Sterling. You give this offense time to develop routes. I mean, come on, man. I mean, we see what we saw last night, and it's now twice out of the last 3 games they've scored 30 or more points. Last year they scored 30 or more points twice. They've done it 2 out of the last 3 games because he's had time to throw. The offense is developing, and now they get Rashee Rice back.
I do think he was great in the run block game as well.
Yeah.
I thought Jalen Moore did a great job. They ran behind him a few times.
Yeah.
I mean, some of those short yardage situations, I don't know if it's the San Fran. You build great run blockers in San Francisco, and then you can teach him pass pro. But I thought Jalen Moore was outstanding in this game, especially in run block situations. I thought Kingsley had a nice game as well. By the way,
dude.
Kingsley, yet again,
They have
3
found something
straight games.
I'll say, sorry to cut you off, but I just want to say this because I made a note of it, and it's come up right now, so I want to at least acknowledge it. We have been very hard on Andy Heck. And Kingsley has gone from a guy that looked lost at left guard to a guy who's dominating at left guard. So if Andy Heck was the problem as to why Kingsley wasn't developing, then I'll give a tip of the cap to what we're seeing from Kingsley at left guard and how quickly he's becoming an answer at left guard, which afforded you the opportunity to trade Joe Thuney.
Yeah. Again, just kind of with the coaching staff conversation here, this was a phenomenal coaching staff game. I thought Andy Reid, the aggressiveness was great. However you want to break down the OC with Matt Nagy and Andy Reid, however you want to combine that, I thought the play calls were creative. I do wonder, they were sitting at 2-3. You cannot go to 2-4 and still feel great about some of the playoff promises. That I think that's at least the initial goal before you get to the AFC Championship game, the road through Arrowhead, and then of course Super Bowl. But you got to make the playoffs first. You can't go to 2-4. I don't know if they said, hey, nothing's being held back. And I don't know how the whole holding things back, especially against an NFC opponent.
It's the last game of the season. You can't hold anything back.
But it did feel like they're like, we're giving everything in this one.
Yep.
This was the most creative play calling we have seen in a while. At least I thought that. Thought Spagnuolo did a great job adjusting, because that's what he does. We always freak out at the first drive, and then what do we do? He always adjusts.
Ravens and Lions.
It always happens.
It's the Spider-Man meme pointing at each other. Ravens
But the
and Lions.
first drive always like, they're getting their ass kicked. And then it's always like, oh, wait, Spags adjusted? Shoot, how could we have seen that coming besides the 30 years of Spagnuolo defenses?
The Spider-Man meme is just me pointing at me with the Lions and Ravens first drive with the same reaction. Oh, no. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling. We'll take your phone calls. I know we got a couple people on hold. 913-381-0810, taking your phone calls on the other side of the break, getting some texts as well. 913-912-4810. Field Yates joins us an hour from now. We'll hear from Andy Reid later on in the noon hour. Mick Schaefer in the 1 o'clock hour. Learn funniest best from the weekend. A lot of stuff to get into. Yes, we'll talk about Brian Branch, what took place last night. Some analysts that are just clowns out there. One of them I follow just for the comic relief. And the updated Super Bowl percentage odds at ESPN FPI are out there. We look at where the Chiefs now sit after 6 weeks in the season and a 500 record and third place in their own division. Some perspective of what's going on. More Zone next.
Kansas City played great, and if you want greatness, make sure you bust out El Bandito Yankee Tequila on game day, an ultra-premium tequila made from 100% Blue River agave from the highlands of Jalisco, Mexico. All right, their agave thrives in the 20,000-year-old volcanic soil of Jalisco's highlands. This rare combination of climate, altitude, and soil produces the best agave, ensuring their tequila is truly natural and clean. Their slogan is so smooth, it's criminal, and it stands true. It is extremely smooth. Even if you're not the biggest tequila person, whether you want it in a margarita, phenomenal. You want it on the rock.
All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy heading up until 2 o'clock, 913-381-810. Let's bring in Jerry to the conversation on Sports Radio 810 WHB on this Monday edition. Chiefs knock off the Lions 30-17. Jerry, go right ahead. What's on your mind, sir?
Victory Monday. I hope you guys are having a great day so far.
We are. Hope you're doing the same, bud.
Oh, I am. I got three thoughts. I had a whole napkin full of things I wanted to say, but I got three thoughts I'll tell you. The most important thing is I saw Taylor last night, and she looked just as engaged with her company as she is with Travis, except Ed. He was watching the game. Shout out to Dan Campbell. I think he is A1. He's an awesome guy, but the Detroit Dandelions are not. And I just like what happened with Patrick. I saw him go through like 5 stages. This is how ate up I am. I saw him go from Patrick to hat trick, to the Mad Hatter, to Petty Pat, to winner. That fast. I mean, the whole game was awesome. Did he truck some guy the guy that used to be a Chief, the one that was a dummy at the end of the game? Did he truck him into the end zone or what?
No, I mean, I don't think the guy at the end of the game was Brian Branch. He was never a Chief.
He was
I thought they drafted him.
No, he got drafted in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the night that the draft was in Kansas City. He was a guy that was in attendance, and he didn't get drafted in the first round, and he was I think the only guy that stayed in Kansas City overnight. Everybody else went home. He stayed and showed up to the draft in the second round and walked on the stage and everything, and got a big ovation when he was out there. And Mick and I talked about it at the time. I'm like, that's pretty cool, man. I got a lot of respect for Brian Branch for staying around and not sulking and just going home.
Yeah.
But and then of course that first game of the season is when he had the pick 6 off Kadarius Toney, not Patrick Mahomes.
I would have just said that if he was a Chief, I'm glad he's gone. Like I'm glad that Marcus Peters is gone and Shady McCoy. I didn't like either one of them. Never did. Didn't want him on the team. First year it was okay for Marcus Peters. He was awesome, but he just turned into crap. And I just think this is a really good season. The theme for the season for me is like Boston Third Stages. If you ever listen to that album, it's like Cool the Engines is the Chiefs all the way for me. They're going to get it together. They don't need to hurry. They're going to get where they need to go, and I have faith in them. And I hope the best for next week too. And I wish you guys have a good day. I know everybody else is going to call in. You guys have everything covered good. I don't have anything to offer except comic relief, and it's not that funny. But hey,
welcome to the show, Jerry.
His own.
Jerry, I appreciate the phone call, man. 913-381-810-810. All right, let's listen into the commentary last night after the game around what took place after the game. Let's hear from Juju Smith-Schuster first. Actually, let's play Patrick and Andy, and then we'll get into Juju and Brian Branch and Dan Campbell. Let's play clip number 6 with Patrick Mahomes weighing in on what he saw in the post-game fight with Brian Branch and Juju.
At this point, it just kind of is what it is. You just kind of move on. I mean, we won the football game. I thought we did a great job and played well, but now we were on to the Raiders. I mean, you're playing football. I mean, you're being chippy. That's a physical football team, and they have a mentality that they come in to play with, and we're going to match that mentality. We're not afraid to go up against anybody. I mean, that's the mentality Coach Reed brings every single day, and we're going to match the intensity of whoever steps on that football field.
Let's hear from Andy Reid now. Andy Reid was asked about what he saw after the game in that post-game fight. This is clip number 10. Let's play clip number 10, Andy Reid and his thoughts on the post-game fight.
Yeah, well, you guys saw. I mean, it was, the guy came up and hit Juju for what looked like no reason. I mean, we're taking a knee, so, that's tough. I mean, put pretty good damage on Juju's nose.
There is video, and there was the pictures of Juju's nose bleeding, and then video of him walking to the locker room with the towel over his face from the bloody nose that he had from the helmet hitting his nose. Here is Juju Smith-Schuster at his locker post-game talking about the interaction and what took place with Brian Branch after the game.
He's a great player, right? I mean, he's huge for the team. I think after the game, I expect him to shake his hand and say good game and, move past way. But he threw a punch, And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, it's about, you know, it's a team sport, right? So it's about, you know, we came out here, we did our job, we won, and that's all that matters. They're a great team over there on both sides of the ball. So at the end of the day, it's all about, you know, getting the dub.
Was there anything that led up to that? Any talk during the game or anything that happened after the game?
I mean, me just blocking him, I mean, I'm just doing my job. You know, I played between the whistles, and after the game, you know, he took advantage of what he did.
But you could tell he was frustrated when you were blocking
Yeah,
him.
he was frustrated, for sure frustrated.
Juju, were you bleeding afterwards?
Yes.
I'm sure the frustration had to do with the offense moving so effectively. So I just, you know.
Yeah, man. I mean, when the coaches are dialing up the plays, man, you go out there and you execute them, and part of them is to block safeties, and you know that's what we did. So we went out there, we did our job, and you know we made plays.
Tad said you guys played between the lines. Is that what's disappointing about the last thing? Is that you guys played between the lines and then something like that happened?
Yeah. No, I mean you play between the lines. I mean they're a great team. At the end of the day, you know, of course you're gonna have some chatter. You know, people are gonna be talking. That's part of the game, but. That's during the game. That's between the whistles. That's, you know, pads on pads. But at the end of the day, like, it happens, right? But, you know, I know he's a better player than that and better person. So, you know, he'll learn from his mistakes.
Pretty big of Juju in handling it that way. He could have handled it completely different and got personal there, the way that Brian Branch got personal in terms of the fight after the game. Let's hear from Brian Branch at his locker after the game was over. Here's Brian Branch, his comments on what took place.
I did a little childish thing, but I'm tired of people doing stuff in between the play and refs don't catch it. Like, they be trying to bully me out there, and I should have never did it, but it was childish.
What happened between the plays? What are you referring to?
I got blocked in the back illegally, and it was in front of the ref. The ref didn't do anything, and just stuff like that. And I could have got hurt off of that, but it's still I still shouldn't have done that. So.
That was at the end of the game. You're talking about someone hit you in the back?
Yeah.
Hit you in the back?
Yes.
So Juju in particular was the one that hit you? Or?
Yes.
Yeah. Was there other things that they were doing just in terms of maybe rubbing it in at the end?
Yeah, they were. It was a lot of stuff, but I should have showed it between the whistle, not after the game, and I apologize for that.
Was there other things of them rubbing it in and after the game? They were taking knees after the game. It was really rubbing it in. They weren't even trying to score there.
The best? It was childish. But. I love that. I love that. Okay, it was childish. But.
It was childish, but I had a reason to be childish. Here's the thing. The Detroit Lions are the team that talk about, you know, the grit and the toughness and pushing people around, being the tougher team, taking the physicality to the other team, you know, being the bullies out on the field. And I think one of the misunderstood parts of the Chiefs in this dynasty is that they are not a soft team. They aren't a, you know, slasher, cut to the basket, but not really taking contact and finishing through contact in basketball. They're not that team. They're not a finesse team. They are a physical football team. But yet, because they were scoring a lot of points and it was the razzle-dazzle and the fun and the, you know, snow globe, and they were doing all these different things, somehow the reputation was if you push them around and punch them in the mouth, they will fold.
Gronkowski said that.
Yes. And yet, they haven't folded. They've gone to Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl, 5 of 6 years going to a Super Bowl. They haven't been punched in the mouth and fold. They've gotten beat by better teams in the Super Bowl, by teams that just dominated them, but I don't think they backed away because they were still fighting throughout the game. Holmes was still fighting throughout the game. In both of those, they were just overmatched, especially at the line of scrimmage from the offensive standpoint. But the one thing you know about teams and maybe people in particular that have this particular approach, the bullies don't like to be bullied. And they thought they were going to go out there and just be more physical and point of attack and run it down their throats And then defense, we're going to hit them, and we're going to intimidate them. And they were the ones that got punched in the mouth. And Brian Branch couldn't take it. He couldn't handle getting hit. He couldn't handle getting pushed around defensively because they've been a team that does that. And that is such a misunderstood part of the Chiefs game, is that people just, for whatever reason, think they are a finesse team, and they're not. Let's hear from Dan Campbell after the game was over. He started his press conference at the podium with his comments here on Brian Branch.
Let me start with this. I love Brian Branch, but what he did is inexcusable, and it's not going to be accepted here. It's not what we do. It's not what we're about. I apologize to Coach Reed and the Chiefs and, and Schuster. That's not okay. That's not what we do here, and it's not going to be okay. He knows it. Our team knows it, and that's not what we do.
Here's what makes Dan Campbell so mad and disappointed and frustrated with Brian Branch is that he says, this is not what we do, but it is, because we just watched it with Brian Branch. That's what's got to piss off Dan Campbell is, no, we're the team that takes it to him between the whistles. We're not the team that gets so pissed off that we're getting pushed around that we got to go extracurricular after the game is over to let out our frustrations because we're getting pushed around in a game. We're not the sore loser team. We're the team that looks in the mirror, is the grit, and figures out what's going on. We fix it, and we go out and show how tough we are. But that happened. It happened because his team got pushed around. And there was one player in particular that couldn't handle it, couldn't stand it. And he did, as he said, something childish. And as Dan Campbell said, inexcusable. I like Dan Campbell a lot. I like him, even more from, that commentary last night with Brian Branch. It's, you don't see, maybe you do, but I didn't know what to expect from a head coach when that happens with somebody who's as important to your team as Brian Branch, if they're going to call him out. And he absolutely called him out. And I guarantee you he probably talked to him before he got to the podium because Brian Branch was pretty damn contrite and saying it was childish, it shouldn't have happened. But they're trying to bully me out there. Yeah, it's football. It's the NFL. It's the Big 12.
It sounded like a little kid that got reprimanded by his parents, and he just was like,
Yeah.
well, they were bullying me.
They were bullying me. That's why I went and hit. Well, okay, but, you don't react, okay? You have to figure out how to handle it with your words, okay? We need to talk these things out. Use your emotion words, okay? You need to let us know what you're feeling.
Felt big feelings.
No hitting.
No hitting. No hitting. Hands are not for hitting, okay, Brian? Hands are not for slapping.
They're for shaking.
They're for shaking, right, and they're for wrapping your arms around people to tackle them, and they're for catching. They're for different
And
things.
for the occasional taking out your mouth guard that's somehow in your helmet for some reason.
Also that, yeah. It's all of those things for sure. It's just weird. It's his thing, though. It's his thing.
It is. It is weird. He has a mouth guard in his helmet,
In his
like
helmet.
on
That's his
the
thing.
top. That's
That's
just
his thing.
just hanging.
Just where he keeps it for whatever reason.
Sanitary.
It is,
purposes.
yeah. Well, he never puts it in. Never puts it in his mouth.
Or
so
does he
it's
have
fine.
two? Does he have one in and one
No,
on
I
his
don't
dome?
think he does.
I
That's a
don't-
good question. Maybe he does. Maybe he's got two mouth guards that are out in the field. Who were the players that sometimes had two mouth guards? There was a time.
DK Metcalf, I think, used to have
There
that.
was a time to where it was like a 6 or 7 game span to where we were seeing it in college, and it wasn't like a full season, but it was like a 6 or 7 game span. We were seeing it in college and the NFL where guys had two mouth guards on their helmet, on their face mask,
Or one in their mouth and then one just hanging off their helmet.
Sometimes that would be the case. Yeah, like it was. I don't know. It's odd. It's like truck nuts for your face mask.
He puts it there because he can't breathe with it in.
Well, that makes sense.
So,
but he has to have it on the field. Like you have to show that you have a mouth guard on the field at some point. You don't have to wear it, but yeah.
He says it's personal, but didn't expand further according to this Lions.
Yeah, I think the mouth guard hanging down from the face mask without using it, it's truck nuts for your face mask is what it is. It's just to show how tough you are. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling more zone next. All right, men, if you're out there and you are of a certain age and going through a certain... our NFL insider from ESPN, get his thoughts on the Kansas City Chiefs' victory over the Detroit Lions, sitting 3-3, getting Rashee Rice back. The line against the Raiders. Have you seen what the line is? I mean, it's in front of you right now, so probably not. I mean, you probably have because it's on the format.
I actually haven't looked.
Yeah,
at that part of the.
Okay. Do you want to throw a dart as to what it was and what it is? What did it open up at? At home against the Raiders.
7.5.
What is it now?
8.5.
It opened up at 10.
Oh my gosh!
It's now 12.5. More zone next. The replay of that when they showed the deep safeties, and he said when Mahomes throws the ball, look, as they are dropping back and dropping back and dropping back because of the speed that's there with Thornton and Worthy, they're dropping back, dropping back, dropping back. And he said by the time Mahomes throws it, it wasn't an exaggeration. The safeties were 50 yards down the field because they kept dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping while the play was developing so that nobody got past them. They were 50 yards back. That's why Hollywood Brown was so wide open that he caught it, rolled over, thought he was going to get a hit, had an opportunity to get up, almost got up and then got, tackled, but he was so wide open that he laid on the ground for like 2 seconds. And so that's an impact of having Tyquan Thornton out there. Certainly Xavier Worthy is part of it, but he was injured. And they still were able to do that with Tyquan Thornton. Like, that's a massive difference for this team, and being able to develop him and use him in certain ways that creates openings for certain people. And I don't think it can be understated that Kelsey is starting to look like Kelsey the last couple of weeks. Slipping tackles, yards after catch, that quick little move that he did when he faked left after catching it, and then both guys went that way and he went to his right. That was vintage Kelsey. Maybe not as fast when he turned the corner as he was 3-4 years ago, but certainly not as slow as he was last year when maybe he doesn't even get away from that. But that was vintage Kelsey. He had the one drop, but he was that guy. Like, those things in the offseason, Jalen Moore / Josh Simmons, Tyquan Thornton, and I know that he was on the practice squad, but they still signed him to a reserve futures contract after the season was over, or in January, whenever. And the recommitment for Kelsey and maybe his last year have changed the way this offense looks, because they're not like running the ball at some crazy clip, and it's like, oh, look at them running the ball now. That's the big difference. The big difference is Patrick Mahomes is comfortable, is feeding the ball to multiple guys. Kelsey looks right. And Mahomes is right between the ears with just trusting what's happening with the offensive line.
Well, I think a massive part of Kelsey looking this good is Worthy being back.
That's a good point, too.
I think it has
Wait till
helped. Oh, I know, because
good God, man.
I think we all agree Kelsey's, at age 36, still a really good football player.
Yeah.
Still a top 5 tight end in football. But he's no longer the guy that you want to be the number one option on your team. And last year, he was the number one option on the team way too often in way too many games. He has been option 2 to option 3 with Worthy back. Because some games, Juju gets involved, Tyquan got involved, Hollywood gets involved. And so there's a lot less emphasis on forcing the ball to Travis and a lot less emphasis on him that every single play you have to give every single ounce that you have in your body. And it's just too much pressure, I think, at that age. When he's your option 3, oh my goodness, that is an elite offense. When he's your option 1 at that age, oh my goodness, that's not a great offense. But you're looking at his, and again, at PFF, not an end-all, be-all. Tell me if you see a pattern here. 58.2, 60.4, 65.1, 73.3, 77.8, 86.6.
Is that Kelsey's PFF numbers receiving?
Week by week.
What was the last one?
In order, 86.6.
86.6. I mean, yeah.
Every single week has gone up. It went up 2, then 5, then 8, then 4, then 9. He's up to 86. I mean, again, PFF, not the end-all, be-all, but I think it matches the eye test of week 1 until now, he's progressed every single game.
And by the way, he is 49 yards away from being the leading receiver of tight ends in the NFL.
Absurd.
Through 6 weeks. He's only 40, and that's Tyler Warren. And he's been awesome. Tyler Warren has been great.
He's been great.
He's been really good. He's been a big reason why that Indianapolis Colts offense looks like it does. Now, receptions, he's 16 away because Jake Ferguson has been a reception machine.
That's all Dak's done. It's garbage yards.
Yeah, so Travis Kelce has 28 catches. Jake Ferguson has 44. Travis Kelce is 4th in receiving yards amongst tight ends and 4th in receptions amongst tight ends. He has the 2 touchdowns where Ferguson has 4, McBride has 2, Tyler Warren has 2. So, I mean, he's right there with the top tight ends in the NFL. and he's, with his 28 catches, he's one less than Tyler Warren. And he is 9 fewer than Trey McBride, but 16 away from
McBride and Ferguson are the safety valves for those two. It's why Kelsey
and it's
had so
typically
many.
what Kelsey is, right?
Like last year, the 97. I mean, some of those, and when I say garbage time, it's my joke of Dak Prescott and the numbers he puts up a lot of times where it feels like games out of reach, and then all of a sudden he stat pads a little bit. Like Jake Ferguson, you'll see on final drives get like 5 receptions on a drive for like 19 yards, and you're like, well, that did nothing for anyone, except for if you're playing against him in fantasy football where it did something against me. But the point remains, what Travis Kelce has been this year is what I think a realistic expectation can be. And we're again saying, realistic expectations, he's still a top 5 tight end in football at age 36.
So he's pacing for 80 receptions, 900 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Kelsey is.
Settle out of court.
But it looks different than what it did last year with the 97 receptions and the 800-something yards.
Well, it's more efficient.
Yeah,
he's been more efficient. Last year, that's I think what was a big issue was 97 for 823 is just unsustainable when, again, a large chunk of that was your top option in the offense. It's why the offenses look so much better this year. The efficiency numbers.
In fact, Travis Kelce is third in the NFL of tight ends with yards per reception of those that are qualifiers. It's
him, Warren, Tonjes, maybe?
No, it's Sam Laporta.
Oh, makes sense. By the way, that catch by Laporta last night.
Oh, my God, that was brilliant.
Jamari Conner, great defense.
What are you going to do?
I don't know. I think he looked as confused as anyone of wait, he caught that?
He looked like, good God, what do I got to do here to, get something to go my way in coverage? Like, every time I'm thrown at, they're catching the ball. Some of it's my fault. But this one, come on, I was there, man. I had that.
Jamari Conner, good game last night.
Yeah.
I think I looked it up. Only 11 snaps in the slot.
Yeah. And by the way, Noah Williams, I was wrong about that. I thought Noah Williams would play a lot fewer snaps. He played a lot more, but it wasn't at the expense of Shamari Conner. It was at the expense of Jaden Hicks.
Yes.
Jaden Hicks only played 11 snaps last night. That was a surprise with a team that was going to run the football the way that they did. I would have bet a lot of money on the over 11.5 plays for Jaden Hicks, and you told me he's healthy. He's fine. He'll be fully healthy the whole game. 11.5 plays for Jaden Hicks against the Lions that run the football. Double minimum, maybe triple. What are you kidding me? 11 only? It's interesting.
I liked the snap count and breakdown that Spags threw out there overall in the game. Mm-hmm. By the way, he put Noah Williams one-on-one with Amon-Ra St. Brown a ton in that game, and Amon had one big drop.
It's a big drop. Make the play.
But overall, Noah Williams did a really good job, I thought, on those one-on-ones.
And you know what? For a rookie, he didn't get duped by the hook and lateral.
No.
He stayed right there, dude. Like, he saw the guy running. He was starting to pursue, and then he stopped before the lateral happened. Like, that's how aware he was. He saw the guy running to him while what was it, Amon-Ra?
Yeah, Amon-Ra, yeah.
Running to him while, what was it, Laporta? Maybe?
I don't know, it was Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs.
That was going the other way.
William. I
can't remember who was a part of that. But he stopped. And once that was lateraled, he was right there. Like, that is awareness of, like, a 3 or 4 year veteran. Not a rookie that's played in his fifth game, because he didn't play defense in the first game.
I forgot about that,
He didn't get a snap on defense. So his 5th game of his career in playing defense, not just special teams, to be that aware like that, man, Noah Williams is going to be fun. And yes, Amon-Ra got him on 4th down.
Yeah.
But he dropped the ball. So,
also, it's
happens.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yes,
like
exactly.
we're talking one of the elite receivers in the NFL. The trust that tells you that Merritt and Spags has in a rookie. The fact that they, 100%. By the way, again, another point here, Christian Fulton, healthy scratch. That tells you that they believe.
Yep.
They believe in Noah Williams.
And again, by the way, why would you go and pay the money for Christian Fulton if, he's not playing and you got Noah Williams? Because you didn't know Noah Williams was going to be there. And guess what? The 2 spots that the Chiefs had the most issues with last year, left tackle and cornerback. And they addressed it with numbers to the point that a guy who was barely playing as a swing tackle steps in and starts and plays the way that he did last night in Jalen Moore. And Christian Fulton, who they paid the money to in the offseason to come in and maybe help move Trent McDuffie down to the slot, is a healthy scratch because your rookie, Noah Williams, 3rd rounder, is playing the way that he is, which is keeping Jalen Watson, or Joshua Williams, and Najee Johnson, and Christian Fulton from playing in the game at cornerback, because you've got Jalen, you've got Noel, and you've got Trent McDuffie. Like, that's what Noel Williams has done. It has made the tackle position much deeper and that cornerback position much deeper when those were the issues there with injuries and inability.
I'd say wide receiver, by the way. I'd throw a wide receiver in the equation.
Wide receiver in there, too.
By bringing in Tyquan Thornton.
Juju.
Again,
bringing back Juju.
Bring him, and a healthy Hollywood obviously helps, but you also drafted Jalen Royals, and you haven't had to bust that out yet. So,
100%.
Again, they threw numbers at the spots that were very thin, and now the thin spots have become the strength of said team.
Yeah, they're growers, not showers. The offseason, what they did. Last one, and then we'll take a break and we'll talk with Field
Was
Yates.
that also in the Taylor Swift song?
I
Wood,
believe so.
I think.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
The way this offense is playing, I think I don't want to jinx it, so I'm going to knock on wood. That just making sure that they keep playing like this. But talked about going to break, the Chiefs' Super Bowl odds at FPI, or whatever their Super Bowl odds breakdown percentage is. Do you want to guess where? And maybe you've seen this already in the format. So
I have seen this one in the format.
Never mind. Everybody out there, take 3 or 4 seconds and guess where the Chiefs are in now the percentage odds of winning the Super Bowl according to ESPN's analytics.
Okay, so if I did not see this beforehand, I would have thought
this is Super Bowl, not just AFC.
I would have thought 5th probably. If
they're 3-3, you know.
I haven't seen. Is it the odds or the percent?
The percentage chance of who wins the Super Bowl, the highest percentage chance according to ESPN analytics of the team that will win the Super Bowl this year. Where
I think
the Chiefs
ESPN's
ranked?
oddly high on the Chiefs. So I go 25%.
Not 25%.
No.
Where do they rank 1 through 32?
I'll say second.
Okay. 25% is way too aggressive.
Yeah, that's
second is right around. They moved up with their win last night to number 1.
Wow.
They are at 11% to win the Super Bowl. They surpassed the Bills, who were sitting at 10%.
Yeah.
The Lions are sitting at 9%. The Packers at 8%, and the Colts at 7%.
So that's what I thought. I thought you'd see Packers in there. I thought you'd see Lions in there. I thought you might see Tampa Bay just because again, I think the NFC is way more
I only
wide
saw
open.
the top 5.
No, you're good. I just think the NFC is more open. So I thought that the AFC to an extent is too with the bleeping Colts right now.
But it also shows the two teams in the AFC as opposed to the NFC that typically if you're looking at winning the Super Bowl, wouldn't you have different teams at the top 1 and 2? Because one of each, the best team in the team that's the most likely to win the conference and the AFC team that's most likely to win the conference in the NFC. Because if you're not even most likely to win your own conference, what gives you a percentage chance of then winning the Super Bowl? But it's Chiefs and Bills, 1 and 2, and then the Lions and Packers, and then the Colts.
Surprising the Eagles not top 5.
Yeah.
I know they've had their struggles this year. I mean, the Eagles are 4 and 2. They actually have a negative point differential.
Yep. And by the way,
-1.
A guy that I wanted the Chiefs to go out and sign off the streets, Zadarius Smith, who's had a number of pressures this year. He's got 1.5 sacks. He got a sack last week. Retired today.
I did not see that.
He played 30 snaps yesterday. Retired.
Huh.
Done.
Did not see that.
Yeah. I wanted the Chiefs to sign him. That was somebody that I thought, can you bring him in to help out in the pass rush? He's helping out. He's got like almost a 78, 79 pass rush grade at PFF. Again, it's a data point, but kind of interesting that he's got those numbers, and yet he's like, I'm done. I'm walking away from football. I'm retiring. So they lost somebody. They were in dire straits for edge rush that they went and signed him, and now they lose him as well. They've got some issues at edge rusher. Amazing from where they were last year when they just dominated the line of scrimmage. Sacks, pressures everywhere in that Super Bowl. Now they can't find guys to get sacks or pressures right now in Philly. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Field Yates coming up next.
He'll help you fantasy focus while he scoops the news. He's on TV more often than he's in bed. He'll break down the NFL without a single hair ever out of place. It's Field Yates of ESPN. Now in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We'll hear from Andy Reid coming up in the noon hour, Monday press conference. Mick Schaefer will hang out with us in the 1 o'clock hour, learn funniest best from the weekend. We've got in the 1 o'clock hour, about 1:30 or so. Right now, we got Field Yates from ESPN, our NFL insider, joining us here in the zone. Field, welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
Jason, I am doing well. I'm imagining everybody at the station is doing awesome today as well.
Yeah, you know what? It's a good day for the Kansas City Chiefs. They took care of business last night. They get Rashee Rice back today, and they get ready for the Raiders at home, sitting 3-3. I want to talk about the bigger picture here in just a little bit of what we've seen these first 6 games, but let's talk specifically last night in the Chiefs' victory. What did you see, and what was your takeaway from the 13-point win for the Chiefs?
Yeah, that was a masterful effort. I was thinking about this earlier. Is the Chiefs' best regular season win since fill in the blank. The hard part about doing that exercise is even though the Chiefs are measured in playoff success and Super Bowl championships, they have had a lot of big regular season wins as well. They haven't always been pretty. But last night, a save from really the first, 8 minutes and 45 seconds when the Lions moved the football effectively down the field. It almost felt like once that Jared Goff touchdown was called back because of the illegal shift penalty, momentum kind of changed, and the Chiefs seized the game from there, complete game on offense, defense, special teams. Obviously Harrison Butker did miss the one extra point, but for the most part, solid in the third phase of the game. So that felt like a statement win for a team that doesn't really need to make them that often, but given a 2-3 start, the fact that the Lions had come in winning 4 straight games, and last time these two teams played, it was at Arrowhead and back in 2023 in Week 1, and the Lions kind of kick-started this current run they're on by beating the Chiefs. Felt like an important one last night. They handled business in a pretty impressive way.
Yeah, and I think, we talked last week getting ready for that Jags game, but ultimately coming out of that Jags game on the show here, it was a frustrating loss, but it was the first time all year where I came away going, I feel like the Chiefs were the better team in the loss. I didn't think that way after the Chargers game. I thought against the Eagles, both teams had plays where they looked at and said, we didn't play that well. So both teams probably felt like they could have played much better in that game, and the Chiefs lost. But the Jags game, I'm like, man, I feel like this is the first time they sort of gave one away, and the offense playing the way that they did gives me more comfort and confidence moving forward. So I thought the Chiefs would win. I had them winning by 3. I did not have them winning by 13. And it's the first time in a long time, Field, that when Patrick Mahomes and the offense takes the field, I feel like there's a touchdown on that drive, and not what do they have to do and what crazy magical play does Mahomes have to make for them to even get into field goal range to see if they can score on this drive when it's 17 to 21 to 23 points per game. They've got 30 in 2 of the last 3 games, and they're over 90 the last 3 games, and I don't feel like that's slowing down anytime soon. I don't know the last time where the Chiefs have taken the field and just felt like they're going to go score, and that's what I felt the last 3 weeks.
They've either graduated to or re-enrolled into that class of offenses where you feel that way, right? Because it feels like, and this probably is a bit reductive and oversimplifying things, but as we know, when Patrick Mahomes first became the starter, it was this high-flying attack with Tyreek Hill at his apex and Travis Kelce at a different level of overall athletic ability, and the Chiefs could just kind of bombs away against you on offense, and it felt like the counterpunch to that was, hey, let's play 2 high safeties, right? And let's reduce the number of explosive plays by the Chiefs and see if we can't make them win by, going death by 1,000 paper cuts on offense. And normally a 2 high safety look would invite a much healthier running game. The Chiefs still aren't getting a whole lot from that. Their best rushing player right now is pretty clearly Patrick Mahomes, at least in my estimation. And it feels like what Patrick has, the way that he is playing right now is where defenses are going to give him something, and he is incredibly comfortable giving whatever that defense takes him. And because of his escapability, these teams might have a decent plan defensively in terms of how to mitigate this offense, but once Patrick buys enough time to kind of play schoolyard football, he's the best that we have, not just now, but in a long time, maybe ever, at making something happen when things break down a little bit in the pocket. So 10 rushing attempts for 32 yards and a touchdown last night from Patrick, plus some plays that he extended with his own legs that turned into big passing plays. He is in a zone right now. And you sort of felt like as the clock struck 0 last night, there was an energy, a confidence about the Chiefs that the NFL might have made a mistake by letting us hang around this much by the time that we get Rashee Rice back and get through what is probably the most difficult 6-game slate of their entire schedule.
Yeah, they've got the Raiders and Commanders coming up at home, then they head to Buffalo before the bye week, and then they've got Denver twice. That Colts game at home is a little bit different now than what we thought at one point. So we'll see the rest of the way. After last night's game and that victory against the Lions, and as you said, trying to do the exercise of best Chiefs regular season wins since, fill in the blank, I wanted to ask you the question, are the Chiefs, quote-unquote, back, or did they ever go anywhere?
Yeah, probably the truth is they never went anywhere, but they are playing with the confidence right now. I think what last night was a reminder of more than anything to me is it was at home, not on the road, but still that you just need to get into the dance if you're the Chiefs, because in a one-game slate, you can beat anybody, anytime, anywhere. The NFL felt through the first 3 weeks like maybe the best team in the league was Buffalo. Going into tonight's game, Buffalo is joined by just Tampa Bay in terms of one-loss teams now. Well, the Packers also have just one loss, but they have one loss and one tie as well. But I forgot the Steelers. My apologies there. But the Steelers feel like a different category. The point I am trying to get to is that the NFL's top of the food chain feels a little bit weaker now than it did 2 or 3 weeks ago, right? The Chargers need the brilliance of a Justin Herbert escapability play and a long throw to Ladd McConkey that turns into a game-winning field goal, or a short throw that turns into a long play from Ladd McConkey and a game-winning field goal. The Broncos barely beat the Jets. Bills obviously lost last weekend to the Patriots, and maybe they still have the right to say they are the best team if they handle business decisively tonight. But it felt maybe after week 3, like with the Chiefs at 1-2 and having won 22-9 against the Giants on Sunday Night Football, that they were still kind of figuring themselves out, and the rest of the conference had caught up more. And I'm also realizing I forgot the Colts in that one-loss team conversation. But Jason, my point is this: the top of the NFL food chain remains a little bit less convincing to me compared to where it was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And when we came out of week 1 and, watching the Bills and Ravens go back and forth on that Sunday Night Football and thinking, I don't know that the Chiefs lost that game against the Chargers. And I'm like, I can't sit here and say, well, I thought the Chiefs were the better team. Like, I think there's a chance that the Chargers are the better team from what we saw in that game. Yeah, not having Xavier Worthy when they get Rashee Rice back, all of those things we talked about at the time. But now looking at the rest of the league, and injuries matter and attrition and all of that stuff, and the Chiefs are relatively healthy this year, especially, comparatively speaking to some of the other teams, but really just comparatively speaking to what typical health would be after 6 weeks in the season. Field Yates is our guest. So the first 3 games of the season for the Kansas City Chiefs, they averaged 20 points per game offensively. These last 3, they're averaging 32 points per game offensively. And even going into the second half against the Giants, you throw these last 3 games in the second half against the Giants, they're averaging almost 4 points per possession. And if you take away the kneel down, right? We don't need to count the kneel down. So almost 4 points per possession. What are you seeing from this team? And is there a particular reason or reasons you look at as to why it just feels different? And not even just feels different, it looks different, and the numbers show that it's different from last year when it just felt like a struggle to get to, 3 touchdowns and a couple of other field goals if you were to get to, mid to high 20s.
Definitely have seen more creativity, at least in my opinion, on the offensive side of the play calling equation. The other thing that I would say is that during this offensive explosion, the Chiefs' depth has really reared itself. And last night I thought was yet another testament to that. If I told you that through, it's week 6 now, Xavier Worthy, if my math is correct, would have something like, 14 catches total through 6 games? Now, obviously he missed basically 3 games in that equation, in that process. But last night he gets 2 catches for 20 yards, one of which does go for a touchdown, but it doesn't really matter because the Chiefs hang 30. Juju has a reasonable night. Hollywood Brown scores 2 touchdowns. Travis Kelce has meaningful contributions as well. The Chiefs just have really good depth. I mean, Tyquan Thornton was a key contributor in the first few weeks of the season. Who knows what kind of role, if any, he will have once Rashee Rice is back in the mix. So the depth of the Chiefs really showed up, and then just the avoiding of negative plays has been really important as well. Last night the offensive line did a relatively good job with Patrick Mahomes. He was under duress a little bit, which is part of the reason why he ran 10 total times, but sack numbers have been
really 6 because of the kneel downs. Which can we adjust as an aside?
We need to.
Can we just take those away from the stats?
Yes, those are. The NBA just instituted that new rule, right?
I gave the same example.
Yes, there we go. We're on the same page here. So team stats for kneel downs. But yes, Patrick running a little bit. Also 0 penalties last night. First team to do that since 2023 in week 17, which I think Was it the Chiefs as well who did that in Week 17 of 2023? But anytime you can avoid, what's one of coaches? Coaches love the saying, in order to win games, you have to learn how to not lose games. An easy way to lose games is to turn the football over and penalties. And you can allow teams to hang around longer than they should with either of those or a combination of both of those. The Chiefs last night did an excellent job avoiding them.
Visiting with Field Yates, and by the way, that just shows that the Chiefs have the referees in their pocket. That's all that shows. It doesn't show that the Chiefs played a clean game. It just shows that the referees.
I have it's funny. I have a friend, a Lions fan, friend who sent me a link of a stat that last night was the first time a team had not been called for a penalty in a full game in over 70 years. And I had to remind my friend that you can't believe everything you read on the internet. And he was fully convinced that was what happened last night.
Yeah.
The first time in 70 years a team went without a penalty. I said to myself, that's impressive, but it's not that rare.
But also,
so everybody can just relax.
Called for a penalty or a penalty accepted, because there was a declined penalty in the game. So, I mean, it was one, but it was still a penalty. Field Yates is our guest from ESPN. One of my takeaways from the Monday night game against the Jags and then this game against the Lions, Andy Reid went for it on fourth down against the Eagles. He went for it on fourth down against the Ravens. And against the Jags on Monday night, he had fourth down and short a couple of times, and he punted both times. And I said last week that to me is Andy Reid sort of letting people know what he thought of the Jags and what he thought of the game plan. That was, we just need to go out and play our game. We'll win. We're better than the Jags. Let's just go take care of business. We don't have to do some of the uber aggressive and give them short fields. Let's just go play our game. And the Lions, there was no doubt that we're going to be more aggressive. These stats from Sam McDowell, who does a great job as a columnist for the Kansas City Star here, I wanted to send these stats your way and see what you think about them as to the different philosophy and why it is the different philosophy this year for Andy Reid. So since Patrick Mahomes became the organization's starting quarterback in 2018, the Chiefs have faced fourth down with at least 3 yards to go from inside the 10-yard line 25 times in the first half of games. So what they had last night, 4th and 3, and first half of the game. They are 25 for 25 in kicking the field goal. And last night he went for it. He also throws this one out there. They faced the same decision inside the 30-yard line 86 times in the first half of games. 86 for 86. They were kicking the field goal. And last night, in the last 8 seasons, Andy Reid has never attempted 3 fourth downs in the first half of a game. He's attempted 2 in the same game just 6 times, 3 of those this season. So he had 3 total with Patrick Mahomes in the first half. He's done it 3 times this year. Is that just Andy Reid and getting with the program of teams being more aggressive? Is it, Andy Reid having more trust in his offense because, last couple of years maybe he just had to kick the field goal because you can't come away from drives with no points? Is it Harrison Butker? Is it a combination of all of those? What would you put your finger on as to why Andy Reid has just completely flipped the script and woke up with a Dan Campbell mask this season?
Probably a combination of all those things, right? It's a reasonable way to approach it. I did think last night there was a little bit of knowing the opponent, to your point. The Lions, even after the Jared Goff or the illegal shift on the Jared Goff touchdown catch play, looked like they were lining up to go for it on 4th and goal from the 6, and then the subsequent delay of game pushed them back to the 11-yard line, at which point they kicked the field goal. And to me, that was a sign from Detroit that they're going to do what they always do, which is play aggressively. We have seen a little bit of this influence on this younger generation of coaches that I do think is probably, the old dog can learn some new tricks every once in a while, which in the case of Andy Reid is being a bit more aggressive. We're seeing teams do that all over the NFL, and that Dan Campbell's probably the leader of the charge there, but we see some other young coaches. Seems like Liam Cohen's part of this as well. Guys who are unafraid to go to use all 4 downs. Ben Johnson certainly seems that way in Chicago right now. I think we'll see some of it. We saw a lot of it from Cliff Kingsbury under Dan Quinn in D.C. Last season, and maybe we'll see some of it tonight as well. So that to me might be a little bit of where things are at. It's like these trades, right? NFL trades have become relatively common now after not being that frequent in prior years. It feels like in part because we have this younger, aggressive generation of general managers that are unafraid to play a game of let's make a deal.
Field Yates is our guest. A couple more, and then we'll let you go. What do you think the fallout is from what took place post-game with Brian Branch, the league looking into it? Will it be a fine?
Yeah,
Do you think there's potential suspension here?
I do. I think there's a potential for a suspension, and not knowing all of the details. Right now, we're just going for from the accounts of what each side had to say after the game. But Juju made it seem seemingly sort of unprovoked. It was kind of like, hey, we're just trying to, kind of congratulate each other on, a hard battle, and next thing you know, he gets smacked. A fine for sure. It wouldn't surprise me if Brian Branch gets smacked with a 1-game suspension. I don't have any information on that. I'm not trying to report anything there. I just, it's a bad look, and primetime game, and the emotions just caught the best of him. So, Jalen Carter, of course, had the spitting incident week 1 against Dak Prescott, which the NFL said, hey, that was basically time served.
Yeah.
Because it happened before the first snap on defense. Brian Branch, I would put in a similar level in terms of, obviously spitting on a man is unacceptable and no two ways about it. But, open hand hitting a guy across the face, swiping him, there's no place in that for the NFL. Or there's no place in the NFL for that, excuse me. So I wouldn't be surprised there. But that's the kind of emotions. That's the difference, I think, between a team that's ready for prime time and the Chiefs, and a team that is still waiting to punch his ticket in the Detroit Lions. You just can't have those kind of mental lapses in big moments. You just cannot do that.
Field Yates is our guest from ESPN. Which team are you taking the rest of the way of the season in the AFC? Bills, Chiefs, Colts, whoever. If you're picking a team that you would want to be in that situation after 6 weeks and looking towards the rest of the season, which team would you choose?
Okay, so I can choose between the Bills, Chiefs,
anybody.
Colts.
I mean, you could choose the Chargers, whoever. I mean, Raiders, your choice.
Okay.
Just the rest of the way in the AFC, which team are you saying, you know what, I think I like that situation best to win the AFC and go to San Francisco and play in the Super Bowl?
So the Chiefs are the right pick after last night. There's still a part of me that wants to say, a little bit of discipline here, step back, and look at where Buffalo is, the division they play in.
Yep.
You've got a 1-5 and an 0-6 team. Now you've got a Patriots team with a quarterback that looks like, oh boy,
yeah,
he's going to be a problem. That being said, Buffalo's schedule, we talked about how the Chiefs have gotten through probably the hardest 6-game stretch of their schedule, but it's not like it's a cakewalk the rest of the way. You mentioned Denver twice, and the Chargers again, and the Colts, and the Commanders in 2 weeks. That'll be a tough challenge as well for them. So I'll go with Buffalo just because, they've got a first-place lead right now. They do play Kansas City at home. So I would go with Buffalo by an inch over KC.
All right, we'll see what ends up happening there the rest of the way, and who it ends up, and which is perfectly fine, and reasonable take, because if they've got the number 1 seed in the playoffs, yes, they've got a percentage-wise a better chance of being the team that wins and goes to the Super Bowl. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. Field Yates, our NFL insider from ESPN, joining us. Field, I appreciate the time as always, brother. Enjoy the 2 games coming up tonight, and we will talk next week.
Sounds great, Jason. Talk to you soon, my friend.
Absolutely. There's Field Yates. Great stuff from him, as always. Our NFL insider from ESPN. And, reasonable that the team the rest of the way, the situation he'd rather be in is the Bills because of the schedule that's in front of them. Although New England looks a little more salty than we thought, but the schedule that's in front of them, and more than likely being the odds-on favorite to get the number 1 seed.
Only one more game, though, against New England. They took care of business.
Right.
Well, they didn't. New England took care of business against Buffalo once already.
Yep, but they've got Atlanta tonight, which I think is a sneaky, scary game for the Bills. But they got the bye week, then they go to Carolina, Kansas City at home, then they go to Miami. We'll see what Miami looks like at that point. Tampa at home is an interesting one because Tampa's certainly much better. At Houston, at Pittsburgh, those are interesting games depending on where the teams are at that point. Cincy at home, then at New England, at Cleveland again, we'll find out, and then Philly at home, and then the Jets at home. So if the Chiefs need help in Week 18, they aren't going to get it because the Bills are playing the Jets in that final game of the season. So there you go. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. More so next. NFL fans, what is your favorite touchdown? Well, for me, it's the next one because with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown can bring you closer to cashing in. From first touchdown. Christian Fulton were injured, and then finally he's back practicing. Okay, now he can go out and play, but it didn't matter. He was a healthy scratch, and it didn't even register with me.
This is what I think stands out all the time with this Chiefs dynastic run. Their depth. Time and time again, that's what stands out. It's the NFL. Injuries happen. I know the Ravens they've suffered more than most, and at some point with the Chiefs offensive line and a couple Super Bowls, at some point it's too much. It's over. You can't sustain that. It's done. But this Chiefs team, their depth, it's why when the Lions are talking about their secondary being banged up, I have no remorse for you.
Yeah.
Build your team better.
Chiefs have been through it. They lost Pacheco and Rice. They lost Jalen Watson last year. Their starting cornerback. They lost guys throughout the season.
It's the
to
NFL.
Injury.
It's
Yes.
football.
I mean, those things happen. We'll take and obviously Hollywood was injured last year too. Like nobody cared or felt sorry for the Chiefs in what that offense looked like. All they talked about was that they were lucky and the refs were on their side. But now when the Chiefs play teams that are injured, that's the excuse. Well, no, they're facing teams that are injured. Yeah, and last year they faced teams that were healthy and they were injured. More Zone next.
Well, thanks for taking my call,
Yeah.
first of all. Now, I have a question about big number 74. Now, he hasn't had a penalty except for that one, three games ago, and they were saying that wasn't his fault, and somebody else didn't get set.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I'd like to know why the penalty is on him if it's not his fault, and then secondly, all this talk on different stations about he's not going to be back next year. I think his problem has always been his confidence on getting the penalties he's gotten. He seems to be playing really well. And why wouldn't he be back next year if he keeps playing at the level he's playing now?
Well, I would say that the reason he wouldn't be back is because of the contract. That if you've got Jalen Moore that you feel confident can play right tackle, and you're paying him to be more than just a third tackle, a swing tackle, and Juwan Taylor's cap hit next year is $27.4 million, and they would save $20 million against the cap if they move on from Juwan Taylor and already having Jalen Moore in the fold. I think it's a numbers game for Juwan Taylor that because of the salary cap and his savings, if they were to release him, I think that's ultimately going to cost him next year with the Chiefs.
I do think, Joseph, it's a good call. Juwan Taylor's been good the last 3 games. Again, that penalty, you're correct, not on him. I don't know why it's called on him technically and not on Tyquan Thornton.
Either.
Because it was the wide receiver who was the one who didn't line up correctly.
He didn't cover up the tackle at the end of the line of scrimmage, but they call it on the tackle.
So
Right.
Good call. I don't know why that would be on Juwan Taylor. I don't know the intricacies of why that's called on Taylor, not Thornton. But point remains, you're correct. The past 3 weeks, Jawan Taylor's been really, really good, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, he had one penalty against the Giants.
But what it does come down to is that $20 million you can save when you already have that money somewhat earmarked for Jalen Moore. Again, it's a numbers game. At this number, even with the way Jawan Taylor's played the last 3 games, in my opinion, it's still not at a $27 million at right tackle per year level. Yeah. That's a ton of money for a right tackle. So, again, it's contract. And they knew that when they signed that deal. I don't think Jawan Taylor ever assumed that he was going to see that 4th year. A lot of funny money in NFL contracts, and that 4th year of Jawan Taylor's contract has a lot in it.
All right. Well, appreciate the call. Appreciate you taking my call.
Yeah,
Thank
Joseph, I appreciate it, man. 913-381-0810. Look, if he keeps playing this way, then they'll be getting their money's worth to a degree of him this year and just doing the things you want your offensive line to do and your right tackle to do. And now you know, after last night watching Jalen Moore in the game when he had to be inserted into the lineup, the starting lineup with Josh Simmons, with the family emergency, that you know that Jalen Moore can, play up to a standard that you would hope would be there for an NFL tackle. And it's just too much money next year for Jawan Taylor.
Yeah.
And yet he's been penalized one time since that Philadelphia Eagles game. And that was against the New York Giants. And that was in the second quarter against the Giants when he had an illegal formation. And then, the Jacksonville illegal formation, again, like we talked about, was on the wide receiver, Tyquan Thornton, not lining up and covering up the tackle. So, but again, he had those 4 penalties against the Chargers and 2 against the Eagles. So it's like, oh, wow. First 2 games of the season, the guy's got 6 penalties. And he's only had 1 since then. He's had 2, but only really 1.
Yeah. I think it's time we give a little shout out. You did earlier, but to Andy Heck.
Yeah.
Because we did talk, and I thought that this was a very hot seat for Andy Heck coming into this year. I said if there's one coach on this staff, I know a lot we're going to tab Matt Nagy. I thought of all coaches that had a hot seat, I thought Andy Heck, with the amount of talent, money, draft picks, all of that thrown into the equation, how they had not been improving, right?
Mm-hmm.
Josh Simmons looks incredible as a rookie. Kingsley Suamataia the past 3-4 games has been, in my opinion, again, I don't care what PFF says on some of them, I think Kingsley's been really good the past few games. Creed Humphreys, Trey Smith has taken a step forward in pass pro.
Yeah.
Right? That was the big knock was, can he take a step forward in pass pro? He has. Jawan Taylor has not necessarily been the guy, the improvement. But, again, you see Jalen Moore step in and look really good. For all the questions we had about Andy Heck and when are we going to start seeing some development, I'm ready to at least tip my cap a little. I know it's a smaller sample size, but Andy Heck looking pretty good so far with his offensive line.
Let's hear from Patrick Mahomes. He was asked last night after the game was over about the situation surrounding Josh Simmons and Jalen Moore, how he performed in Josh Simmons' absence.
Yeah, I didn't fully know. Obviously we'd walked through around noon, 1, whatever it was, and he wasn't there, so I knew something was up. And then talking with the coaches after, obviously a personal matter, but I have all the faith in the world in Jalen. He came here to do what he did today. Go out there and go up against one of the premier pass rushers in the league and handle his own. And so that speaks to his professionalism, getting better and better through work throughout the week and being prepared to play at any moment. And he went out there and showcased the type of player that he is.
He played well, and that's all you can really ask for is for a guy to step up. And as we said in the first hour, like, I can't imagine what Jalen Moore's sleep was like the night before, because he had his baby girl. She was born early morning, and that's not typically something where, okay, she's here, now let me go get a nap before walkthrough. It's okay, she's here. Luckily, Josh Simmons and Jawan Taylor are healthy, so I'll be fine, as if I have to step in an injury. And then you get to the walkthrough and, okay, Josh is gone. What's going on here? Oh, by the way, you might be starting tonight. And, oh, by the way, you are starting tonight. So, he stepped up and had to play in the way that he did against a good pass rusher in Aiden Hutchinson. He got beat on the first drive by Aiden Hutchinson. It's why, that pass to Hollywood Brown, I think that was the first drive when Mahomes spun out of the grasp of Aiden Hutchinson and found a wide-open Hollywood Brown.
Yeah.
That was Hutchinson against Jalen Moore, and he got beat by a premier pass rusher. Luckily, Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, and then found Hollywood Brown. But, other than that, I thought he performed really well throughout the game. And that was one of those to where we wondered how his game would translate with the Chiefs compared to what he did with San Francisco, because the Chiefs have their tackles typically drop straight back to a degree on those pass plays. And Jalen Moore kind of goes out and meets the defensive end. And that first rep, he went out to meet Aiden Hutchinson, and Hutchinson just, put a little juke move on him and went by him. And it was like, oh, yeah, that was pretty easy for Aiden. But, Jalen Moore still played great last night in that situation. And if he has to fill in at right tackle, I think you have confidence that he can do that next year, because certainly he's being paid to do that.
His run block grade in that game was 80.8, and so that again matched the eye test, in my opinion, of when the Chiefs needed some runs and where do they look better, what side running do they look better at, and I thought they actually looked good running to the left, which is again is Kingsley Sumatia and Jalen Moore. I don't know if everyone agrees with this. I've just been very impressed with Kingsley's ability, especially in run block. I mean, you're seeing him and Creed Humphrey team up together. I think that's why we've seen better yards per carry from Isaiah Pacheco the past couple of weeks. I mean, there are holes now. There are holes that we are seeing opened up in the run game.
Mm-hmm.
It's why I've trusted Kareem Hunt running the ball more. I know he only ran for 3.8 yards a carry, but when you're trying to go for 2 or 3, of course your yards per carry are going to be down. I thought the run game is actually pretty solid the past couple of weeks. I think the concern over the Chiefs need to trade for a running back has died down a little. I'm not saying I wouldn't hate it, but I think my concern has shifted a little more to the defensive line than running back now.
Oh yeah, I'm with you on the defensive end is a bigger priority for them to go and address than just running back. Defensive tackle,
or defensive tackle. I mean, Derek Nottie.
Hopefully, well, he's brutal. Yes. So defensive tackle, if you're talking about just a run stuffer, just a big guy in there that doesn't get pushed 7 yards back.
Can I ask you a question that I find this very hard to. This is very difficult. Derek Nottie has played very poor football.
Mm-hmm.
Derek Nottie is ranked, it was last out of every single defensive tackle. We saw him get pushed back dramatically time and time again. Yet, Jason,
I know.
Wouldn't we agree? This Chiefs
leading
team.
Question.
Wouldn't we agree?
Objection, leading.
This Chiefs defense has been pretty good against the run. They did a good job against Saquon Barkley. They did a great job last night against Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. So for all the talk of Derek Nottie and how poor he's been, I don't get how this team is good stopping the run.
Well, it's interesting because the success rate, they're terrible at it. They're one of the success rate, some of those things, they rank near the bottom of the league, but yet you come out of a game against a team that's a heavy rush team and you're like, the Lions only gained 98 yards on the ground. And I think some of that is the fact that, you play complementary football and the Chiefs offense was playing the way that they were.
If only they had Mike Pennell.
Yeah, no, he's been terrible, right? He's been just awful in Cincinnati.
Worse than Nottie.
That's Nottie correct. That is
not even close.
That's not. That was a better one. Not even close. That was a better one. Yes. But I mean, there was a couple plays last night where I took notes. I'm like, I had to rewind.
But isn't it
Nottie was
interesting,
literally 7 yards down the field, and it was one man blocking. He wasn't double teamed. But even if he was double teamed, his job is to take on the double team and not lose ground. He was pushed 7 yards back.
Maybe that's what he's supposed to do. He gets pushed so far back, actually, it allows the linebackers to come in now around. It's almost like an anti-stunt.
Yep.
It's
right. Well, that's what they say about Derek Nottie and a run-stuffing defensive lineman. Just make sure only one guy can block you 7 yards down the field. That's really what you want. Is not, well, you know what, you're taking the double team and you got to take that and you end up being 3 or 4 yards down the field. Well, you took out 2 guys. They had to worry about you, which maybe left a linebacker clean to go and make the tackle. No. Maybe he's just getting so far pushed back that it clears up the space around the linebackers. It's a great call.
So Norman Lott played 11 snaps. Tillery played 12 snaps. Nottie played 25.
Yeah, and again, it's a heavy rush team. They have Nadi there to stop the run, or they have him to be the role of helping stop the run. They don't have him there to stop the run because he doesn't do that.
The Chiefs traded a draft asset
Yes.
to go get Nadi from the Jets team that was going to cut him, and they're 0-6.
Yeah, and Pennell was right there on your team. So I don't know. It seems to be a mistake at this point.
But again, Your Honor, the Chiefs have been good, not efficiency numbers, but like I don't know. So something's not adding up in that situation. The other 10 guys are like, okay, we're gonna make sure we're gonna.
Yeah.
They tackle well. I will say this about this Chiefs defense.
That's true.
They tackle extremely well. There's very rarely. They had one where Jahmyr Gibbs looked like he was just lost in the sauce. I have no idea how he got out of that.
It was actually Bolton and Chanel that were both like around him, but nobody actually had him.
It was weird.
And then they both start falling, and Gibbs gets away. Like he just pops out of the scrum, and he's got the what the hell?
But overall, I think this Chiefs defense is a great tackling team, which does help some of those running back numbers because they bring him down.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, they made the Ravens forget that Derrick Henry existed.
Yeah, I mean, and Nick Bolton made a couple of big plays. Like he gets into the backfield on the run blitz and then holds on to Gibbs' jersey enough that pulls him down for a loss. Leo Chenal, I'm glad that Leo Chenal got some shine last night from Chris Collinsworth, pointing him out and the way that he plays and the plays that he was making last night. That was nice to see Leo get some national love in a standalone game of how he's been playing. And good for him, by the way, contract year. So, hopefully, for him, he'll get paid. Not like we see some of the other linebackers out there, but he'll get some money. And I wouldn't mind, obviously, the Chiefs retaining Leo Chenal. I think he's a big part of what they do. I think he's an important piece of what they do, and a contract year for Leo Chenal. We need to take a timeout. We'll come back. We will hear from Andy Reid, his Monday press conference, what he had to say after watching the tape. Mick Schaefer at 1 o'clock. More Zone coming up next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We'll talk with Mick Schaefer coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. Let's hear from Andy Reid in his Monday press conference. Here is Andy Reid in his opening statement. All right.
First of all, our fans were phenomenal. It's great to have an opportunity to come back to GH Field, Arrowhead, and play in front of them. Appreciate their support. And then as far as the team went, I thought there were some really good things that took place. And as far as Josh's situation goes, it's a personal issue. I'm not going to talk about that. I did a little bit last night and then leave it at that. But I thought Jalen stepped in and did a nice job there. And I mentioned that it's a tribute to Andy Heck and the way he rotates all of his guys and make sure that they can play. And Jalen's played a couple different spots, both sides at the tackle, both sides at the guard. So he's busy during practice hitting all these things. But and offensively, again, it was good to see Patrick and Kels hook up for a few nice catches there, and then getting Hollywood in the end zone. Hollywood's a good player. We got a lot of guys, and we're going to end up here adding one with Rasheed. So it's hard to get everybody going, but I thought Patrick did a nice job of getting everybody involved and spreading things around. I thought Matt Nagy had an unbelievable game plan for the guys, and they bought into it. And he and Joe kind of worked that thing together and put this thing together and come up with stuff, and with Andy Heck and the rest of the guys. So it was strong defensively. I love the transition that Spags made there. So we had a couple drives that were at the beginning, and he worked through that and kept everybody together, and made a couple little adjustments there, and guys tightened up the back end and kind of some of those gaps inside. But I thought his game plan was spot on. That's an explosive offensive group. We knew that going in. They've scored a ton of points and in all their games, and so we knew it'd be a big challenge. And I thought the guys handled that well. I thought the coaches that were involved there did a great job with it. Brendan Daly doesn't get enough credit for working with the linebackers. He's kind of stuck in the middle between the secondary and that D line. But Bolton, I thought, played really well. Got a ton of tackles in there and made some big plays that could have been extended. Even though they gained a little bit of yardage, they could have been even bigger than that, and he was able to snag them. So, and then special teams wise, I mentioned it was great to get Bucker a field goal right there at the end, and he drilled that son of a gun, which was great. And we only had one punt, so Ariza didn't have a very busy day there, but did fine with it. So, and then I thought the return groups were good. Nico, again, had a couple nice returns there. So field position is always a big thing, especially against good teams. And that includes all three phases, but special teams got a lot of that responsibility.
He's now mentioned twice that Harrison Butker, man, he really booted that thing. Yeah, I mean, it's even around the building, they know that he needs confidence, trying to instill. I mean, he really booted that thing, that field goal. Really hit that thing hard. Just right. They put those uprights up there. Those things are yellow. Right between them. Right in between those things.
Yeah. Also, it's the same. They were all the same distance. His field goal and the extra points.
But he really booted it, though.
33 yards.
That last one just nailed that 33-yard field goal. Pete Sweeney asked Andy about how they'll work Rashee Rice back into the mix.
Yeah, listen, I know he's been working like crazy. We can't. The rule states that we can't work with him, but I know he's been as coaches, and so. But I know he's been working out hard. And I think it's just a matter of getting him back in the swing. I'm not going to tell you, I've got to see it to kind of work through it, but I know he's in good shape. That's the one thing I do know. And I think that'll be important, him coming back in there and getting with Patrick and kind of getting on the same page as, and that whole deal. But we'll just see how all that works out. We haven't put the game plan in yet, so we're working through all that now.
When you went back and rewatched the film, just what impressed you most about Jalen's performance?
Well, I thought he was just solid. I thought he did a nice job. It wasn't he was going against an all-pro player and 50% of the time. So it was that's a tough ask without playtime. But he handled. I love the way he handles himself during the week and how he practices fast and aggressive during the week and he doesn't. He never hangs his head. And I'm not playing or done this or that. He just gets in there and bears down. And so I think that paid off for him once this thing happened. And he was solid in the run game too, run and pass. It was, he had a productive day.
Yeah. And Andy, I know you said you're not going to discuss the personal situation with Josh, but based on your conversations with him, do you anticipate when he'll be back with the team, or is that still sort of unclear at this point?
Yeah, just to take care of business. That's how those things work.
Okay. Not sure what that means.
I don't even know what that means.
Just to take care of business, that's how those things work. Do you anticipate that he'll be back with the team? Now, I'm assuming that is not open-ended as in just in general, but like this week for the Raiders game, just to take care of business, that's generally how those things work. I like that he's taking care of business before he can return, or whether he's back or not, the Chiefs are taking care of business, even if he's not there. That's generally how it works. We deal with the people that are here. Like we hear coaches talk about that all the time. Like, no, we're worried about the people that are here right now. Holdouts, training camp, right? I'm only worried about the people that are on the field right now. It's an odd answer that I have no clue what he's talking about. Just, I don't know. But hopefully everything is good with Josh Simmons and the personal matter that took place, that he had to leave the game, and that apparently the Chiefs don't want to comment on, nor do they want to say whether or not he'll be back this week. So, not sure. But somebody and something around the situation is taking care of business, because that's generally how it works. Andy Reid continued. Serena asked about how Travis Kelce has bounced back and looks younger.
We've been giving him a lot of Geritol, and he really has, progressed. Like,
oh, that's it. Okay, the Geritol. All right, I thought maybe there was going to be more. All right, and then I know you like to, when you win the coin toss, you to defer. I think everybody understands why, the chance to get the double possessions. Were you surprised, with the Lions move, and does that serve to maybe motivate the team a little bit, that they weren't going for that they were trying to make a statement, so to maybe make a statement back?
Yeah, so it's not the first time that was the third time they had done that this year. So we anticipated something like that possibly happening, and but the guys they're good with that. I don't know if it was motivation or not, but our guys saw, they knew that they had done it before, so it wasn't a big surprise.
Right, and then seizing on the opportunity, getting it, you basically got the score the way it was. How important was that in the game to be able to go from 10-6 down to 20-10, basically with just a few seconds that they were only able to possess the ball?
Yeah, that was a positive, definitely. Are you talking about the drive in the second half, the first drive, second half?
Yeah, just being able to do. I mean, I know that's what everybody would do. Get that touchdown going into the half and get another one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's huge. And you're right. The stop before the half was also big. We ended up taking a knee there at the end, but with just a few seconds on the clock. But that drive to be able to stop them there was big, and then the drive before that where we were able to get a score was good. So, and then obviously coming out the second half, you're always striving for that. You try to come out with a purpose, um, and the guys did a great job of executing and getting a score.
Yeah, the Chiefs, scored that touchdown before half, and as he said, they took knees in their final, quote-unquote, final possession of the first half. It was one play. They took a knee. There was 10 seconds left, so they weren't going to try to do anything really. But the Detroit Lions, they had, 37 seconds left before half and timeouts. So, they're trying to get in field goal range and to limit or stop the halftime touchdown for the Chiefs to take, 14 points before the Lions can score. And it was a 3-and-out. And it was a 27-second possession that the Chiefs end up getting. And it was even less than that because it was 27 seconds after the punt. So including the punt, it was 27 seconds. And then they get that touchdown right out of half. And, the defense deserves credit with this because we talk about complimentary football. But after the first two drives for the Lions, that was field goal touchdown. It's like, okay, so here you go, field goal touchdown. Chiefs are down, 10-6 because Butker missed the extra point. They're trailing by 4 now. So they get those 10 points in the first two drives. They went turnover on downs, punt, touchdown, punt, turnover on downs. The Detroit Lions, the number one offense in the NFL. Turnover on downs, punt, touchdown, punt, turnover on downs to end the game.
That'll play.
Yep, absolutely. Nick Jacobs asked Andy Reid about how they cleaned up the penalties from what happened against Jacksonville.
Yeah, Nick, I thought the officials let the guys play. I'm not saying I agreed with everything that went on, but I thought they were very fair on how they did it. And so they could have called us on some and they could have called them on some. And they kind of let it play out and let the teams really show off what they've got. So, which I think is good. I think it's good for everybody. I think it's good for the fans. It's good for within reason, within reason. And then, we had to tighten some things up, Nick. I mean, all 13 of those calls weren't wrong. I mean, that's not what I'm saying here. We had to tighten some things up, and I thought our guys did that. They worked on it during the week and just making sure the fundamentals and technique were right. And half of it is moving yourself into a position where you can execute. And so that comes down to footwork and speed and angles. And you've got to do that. I mean, those are things that you can take charge of and work on.
And then from a run game perspective, what do you hope the offensive line and the running backs take away from being able to take on the challenge of a physical front like that?
Yeah, well, I thought Pop ran hard, and I thought he was accurate with his reads. And then when Kareem came in, I thought the same thing, powerful, and it starts with the O-line. I mean, they've got to have things rolling up front, but they played physical. Our offensive line played physical against a good defensive line and a defensive front. Because I mean, those linebackers aren't tiny guys either. They're big old guys back there and physical. So, but I thought they played well. There are things we can do better all the way around. I mean, that's not. There's places that we need to tighten up and make it better than what we had. But overall, I'd tell you it was a pretty good job.
Yeah, I mean it's better. Certainly, it's looked better with them running the football. Jesse Newell, as the press conference continued, Jesse Newell asked about the camaraderie amongst the wide receiver group.
Yeah, Jesse, I tell you. A little bit like this is what I meant when I said after the game that they having one come back into the fold there and be able to play, and then Rasheed coming back in the building. Period. They kind of felt whole, and that's because they like each other. I mean, they get along, they hang out together, they they work together on their route combinations, and they're always talking about stuff to get better there. And they've got a good friendship, which will be needed now because we got more guys and we only have one football. So you want them to help support each other, and I think that ends up being important. I think Juju has a big part of that, and he's a he's a uniter, and he's still a tough guy and all that bit that goes with it, a good receiver, and he's been around, so I think he keeps it all together there.
Hey, Coach. I saw, at the locker room after the game, you came up and gave a big pat on the back to Harrison Butker. What did you see on that? Have you literally learned anything on that first PAT miss that he had? And two, do you feel like he needed a little bit of encouragement at this point, especially getting out there and getting that field goal and being consistent the rest of the night?
Yeah, listen, I just thought I'm a big Harrison Butker fan, so I think he's a great kicker, and if not the best, one of the best clutch kickers in the National Football League. So it was just good. I know how that thing goes. I know the swing. I understand all that, and sometimes that ball looks nice and fat, and other times it looks a little tiny. And so, but the first one he didn't hit very good on the PAT, and then he came back and finished strong the rest of the night. And I thought getting a field goal in there, I think that's big. I mean, listen, we're all human, and a little pat on the back. You're being nice on that, but a nice pat on the back it was a positive.
Make no mistake, they need Harrison Butker to figure it out.
Yeah.
Because this is not a find somebody else. If he's struggling, go out, look in the free agent market, bring somebody in, find somebody else, like they did with Spencer Schrader and Matt Wright last year when Harrison Butker was injured. Because they will have him the rest of this year and next year. So this is not at the end of the season, you got to find somebody to take his place. No, Harrison Butker is going to be the kicker this year and next year. They cost $3 more million to cut him than it is to keep him next year. It's a $10 million dead cap hit for Harrison Butker next year if you were to move on at the end of the season. 7.3 cap hit ain't great for a kicker, but it's a $10 million dead cap hit if you were to release him. He's your kicker the rest of the year and next year, unless he continues to struggle and has a quote-unquote hamstring or quad that might require an IR stint while he figures it out and they go find somebody else along the way. But this isn't if he keeps struggling, you just cut him and move on and find somebody else. That's not going to be the case. He's the kicker for the rest of this year and next year.
Yeah, 7.3 seems horrible until you realize if he was still kicking the way he was kicking, I think Dallas would be okay with if Brandon Aubrey was making $7 million because he is that much of a weapon.
Yeah.
And it really was Aubrey, Butker, and maybe Chris Boswell in that category of these are legit weapons and game changers. Where can you find a little difference on the margin?
Yep.
Harrison helped win a lot of close games last year, a lot of close games in the playoffs. We know all this about him. You have to, yes, you're right. You stick with him, and you got to find a way to get it right. And I'm with Andy when he's talking about he understands the swing, and he understands that sometimes the ball looks big and fat, and other times it looks very small. It's mental. It's like golf, like a lot of things.
Yeah.
You got to find your way out of it, and sometimes you just got to keep swinging.
Yeah, that first extra point, I'm like, this guy's got an issue. This guy's got a problem right now with the yips, the shanking it, whatever you want to call it. Andy Reid, as they ended the press conference, was asked how much more they need to get from the running backs to take the load off of Patrick Mahomes in the running game.
Yeah, Pat had the 30 yards rushing. So, listen, he's going to rush no matter what. I mean, he's going to run the ball. There's just times when where if something doesn't look right, or maybe there's a pressure here or there, that he's going to take off and go. And so, I mean, I get that. And it's important that he does like he did last night, where he got down on the ground and not take the big hits. With the exception of one run there, he was able to get down and try to limit the hits on him. So, and then listen, I thought our guys ran the ball well. I thought they had a good night at that. And, there was a mix. So when you do this RPO game, you're calling runs, but some of them turn into passes. That's the beauty of the thing. And so maybe your numbers are down just a little bit, but they end up increasing in the completions.
Hey, Coach, appreciate you, man.
Right, Don.
So Hollywood obviously injured to start last season. It took X a little while to get rolling last year, and Rasheed was on fire before he got hurt. But we've never seen all three of them together on the field. When they were at the height of their powers. How excited are you to see that trio on the field together? Coming up Sunday.
Yeah, no, I think that'll be a positive thing. They haven't been on the field together other than training camp, so it's I think they're looking forward to it, maybe even more than I'm looking forward to it. I mean, they're excited to play together. They're all those three are very close. So, we'll see how it all works out. I mean, I don't have a lot of promises for you, but I just it'll be great to get them back going in the swing.
I'm going to guess the first play of the game, Rice, Worthy, and Hollywood will be on the field at the same time. There's so much talk about it, right? We've discussed it since the first play of the first preseason game in 2024.
Yeah.
And then when Rasheed Rice tore his ACL in week 4, like, oh, well, even when Hollywood comes back, you're still not going to see that. So we're never going to see this. And they re-sign Hollywood. And it's like, okay, the next time they play, well, what about a suspension for Rasheed Rice? Well, you know what? He might not be suspended for the first 4 weeks. So maybe, he's out the first 6 weeks. So it's going to be at least week 7 against the Raiders before there's even a chance you can see, look, Xavier Worthy might be done for the season with his shoulder. We don't know how severe this thing is. If he has to have surgery, he might be out for a while. Who knows? They're never going to be on the field at the same time. And I'm going to guess that just as they were in the first play of the first preseason game, they were on the field at the same time. I think the first play on Sunday at noon, those three guys will be out there on the field at the same time.
And it will be a handoff to Isaiah Pacheco.
It's going to be a quick RPO to Rasheed Rice. Quick, boom, read, Rasheed Rice, 8-yard pickup. And then he gets up and flexes, and the crowd goes crazy, and they're off and rolling. More Zone coming up next. for the Raiders coming up on Sunday. Mick Schaefer, Brian Branch, who you got? I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've seen Mick scrap a little bit. NBC was there at Mill Valley, but did not use the Mill Valley highlights for their NBC Sunday night broadcast. Instead, they went Anthony Sherman on us. How pissed is Mick? Is he submitting his resignation? I don't know. Neither do you. Maybe we find out. I'm not sure. Coming up on the other side. Learn funniest best as well. More Zone coming up next.
words. His wife and kids think he's lame. No! We couldn't get Paul, so we're stuck with Mick.
Yep. Okay, still got it going on.
Mick Schaefer on the Zone with Jason Anderson.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
All right, we hang out with Mick Schaefer here on this Monday edition of the show. Mick Schaefer is presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. Experience world-class sports facilities, including an ice rink, turf field, state-of-the-art courts, arcade games, laser tag, bowling, sports simulators, bar and grill. Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk, where sports and entertainment collide. And if you want to collide with some pie tonight, you can head to Johnny's Tavern and 30% off specialty pizzas. Dine-in only, the Johnny's Tavern locations with 30% off because the Chiefs scored 30 points last night. You get 30% off the large specialty pizzas, dine-in only at Johnny's Tavern. So there we go.
Breaking news.
Oh, there's breaking news. What's the breaking news? Mick Schaefer's in. Breaking news. Mick Schaefer's in.
Breaking news.
Darcy, breaking news. He's looking for it.
We
found it.
We are not obligated to say until that noise
breaking
happens.
news, he found it.
Breaking news. Titans fire
What?
coach Brian Callahan
Wow.
after this 1-5 start.
How about that?
Which I'm sure will be great for Cam Ward and having a rookie quarterback, right? I think that things always go well when you just keep giving new OCs and head coaches to them. I think that's typically good. They hate stability.
Well, now Oklahoma State has to compete with Penn State and Tennessee. The
Virginia
big boy
Tech.
Tennessee team.
UCLA.
UCLA.
Oh, that's what it
some
is.
others.
Yeah, right?
It could be Nebraska.
They need to hurry
if
and
Rule,
when the coaching carousel gets
if
rolling,
Rule goes
you know?
to Penn State, then Nebraska would be open.
I'd take James Franklin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come finish in the top 10 and be
Do you know
disappointed every year.
Do you know how much Oklahoma State would love to not win top 5 matchups from time to time?
But win every
it's
other
a top-
game?
But it's a top 5
Minus
matchup.
the last two?
Yes. But it's a top 5 matchup.
Exactly. You got to be part of it. You have to be good to have a top 5 matchup.
Yes, exactly. Like I was actually shocked, quite frankly, that they fired him.
I was shocked too.
Not even the $49 million buyout, just the fact that they fired him. It's going downhill.
You
It's
got
like,
somebody
gone.
that's going to do better. He kind of
went to the
resurrected
college
that program from
football
a bad
playoffs.
spot.
They went to the college football semis last year, and
Playoffs.
let's can this. I mean, it's
Yeah.
hilarious. I said they were the most overrated team in college football.
Yeah,
Sterling Holmes, correct. But credit to me for being right on that.
I would have
one.
argued Texas, but not after this weekend. No.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm surprised that they ended up firing him. Like that seemed like pretty quick from where they were last year.
15 days ago, they had Oregon on the ropes in
They
overtime.
were leading in overtime against Oregon, and now he's fired. But I thought it was like I heard that yesterday, right? That they fired James Franklin, and I immediately thought to post game Saturday after the loss to Northwestern. He was asked by a reporter, "Do you still want to be the head coach at Penn State?" And I thought, what an incredibly random thing to ask James Franklin.
Apparently not.
After losing some games in the middle of the season, do you still want to be the head coach at Penn State? And his answer was, well, for me, it's always been about the kids. It's always been about these kids in this locker room. And it just gave some canned nonsense answer as opposed to, hell yeah, I love this university. I want to see this university succeed. I love Penn State. But never really talking about the university and just saying, well, for me, it's all about the kids. I'm like, okay, so that was an odd answer. But two, how did somebody just that night, hey, do you still want to be the head coach here at Penn State? They must have known that they were rallying the money from the boosters to pay the $49 million
My answer
buyout.
would be no if my alternative is sit at home for $50 million.
Oh, my God. No, I don't want to. Maybe that's what he was like.
That's the other day. It's such
Wow.
a pricey buyout, which I heard. I mean, you've got maybe Adidas, boosters, whatever.
right.
It's not
That's a
like
lot of
it's.
I don't care
coming from the history.
$49 million.
Yeah,
Like
a
if
lot
I
of
was a
millions.
booster, you have too much money. If you're like, yeah, I'm gonna pay a school that I'm a fan of and help pay $49 million.
It's all like monopoly money.
So
now.
this
It's
guy, is that a
register.
tax write-off?
Well,
I don't know.
Is it a donation?
Is that a
I would say
501c3?
no.
Like,
I don't think so. I'm not sure. I doubt it, though.
let me handle some of that money. I'll
We get mad at Scott Boras and some of these NFL agents all the time. Who's Tyreek's agent? The slick back Miami
Rosenhaus.
guy, Rosenhaus. These college football agents might be A, the best at what they do, and B, fleecing the most money of anybody.
I mean, you have to give your coach an extension every year or fire him. Those are the only two choices. Status quo means you don't believe in your coach, but he's got 5 more years left on his deal. But do you believe in him? Because I feel like he's a lame duck coach if you don't give him an extension this offseason. What are you talking about? He's got 5 years left, but no extension. So you clearly hate him.
Like UCLA is a good quarterback and looks like they might be riding the ship after this past weekend. I don't know, Northwestern's bad. I mean, so it's 2 bad losses, one really bad this week. It's a rough fortnight after 10 years of being a top 10 program. He's probably got top 5 wins maybe since he took over.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun to make fun of him. I'm fine with it, but just the whole logic of it, it's like, wow.
I'm good with him.
At least Oklahoma State's barreling toward a second straight winless season in the Big 12.
Yeah.
They fell off a bigger cliff. He just kind of,
Yes.
it was like a step or like a little plateau he just stumbled over.
I don't know. It felt
maybe
like
maybe there's a cliff coming.
The ground just fell out underneath him. I mean, again, like these
Sinkhole?
last 2 weeks. Yeah, it was a sinkhole. Was what it was, yeah. Although how it ended there at Vandy and all that stuff, I'm fine with him being fired. But $49 million to sit at home. It's the greatest job in the world as being a fired Division I college, FBS, Power 4 college football coach. I mean, that's the best job in the world if you can find it, to be fired at that spot.
You're set. You have your golden parachute. If you're great, you got it.
Yes.
If you're bad, you got it.
I'm either great and I'm making $10 million a year, or I'm bad and they're going to pay me like $30 just to go away.
And then in the year I'm going to take off from coaching, I'm going to go be an analyst
I'll get
for
paid.
a few mil a year from ESPN.
Sure, why not? And I just double dip a little bit. You know, it's like being retired and getting your pension and then going and working somewhere else. It's nice.
I am shocked he was there since 2014. It feels like it had not been that long because he was with Vanderbilt before then, right?
Yes, he was correct. That is correct.
Yeah, I'm shocked that he'd been there. It felt like maybe like 6 years, 7 years.
Yeah,
Wow.
It's crazy how time works.
Ready to move on. Yeah.
They've been tired of him losing big games for a long time, and I guess the straw was losing non-big games.
I think it was
small games.
I think it was 4 of 21 against AP top 10 teams, which
I think 4 and 21, right?
Yeah, 4 out of 25.
But see, that's the thing is so many
160 win percentage is what it broke down to.
Yeah, but that's the thing, and that's unfair because so many people focus on the 21 and they ignore the 4.
They were
what about
so
those
happy.
4?
They were so happy after those games.
What about those 4 wins? Why are you just ignoring that? Mick Schaefer is with us. Mick, you were there at the game last night. I know you weren't on the field after the game was over to see the ruckus.
Our cameraman was right in the middle of it.
Yeah, I was going to say
that.
I did see that. And
if you slow it down, you can see Branch's hand wrapped around, because at that point Juju had his helmet off.
Yeah,
wrapped around Juju's face. I think that's maybe when he got the cut
on the nose,
on the nose or lip or whatever, not when he got popped in the face. There was a lot more after that.
What did you think of the game, and why didn't you go down there to protect Juju? That's my biggest question: is why did you run away out of the stadium?
If there was somebody I needed to protect down there, it was Brian Branch, because afterward I heard he was getting bullied on the field.
That's a good point, man.
He's getting bullied out there.
And that's the thing. What do you do when you're getting bullied? You punch him. You fight back. You know? Why don't you stand up and fight this guy like you done before? It was beautiful.
You hear that so often from football players, right? They were bullying me out there.
Yeah, I hate getting bullied.
I've had kids play from kindergarten all up and gone nonstop college and pro games. I've never, at any level,
really?
It's weird.
Yeah.
Heard a football player, well, I'm getting bullied out there.
Yeah, let's hear Brian Branch if we can. This is after the game. He was very sorry about punching somebody after the game was over. Here's his comments post-game after said fight.
I did a little childish thing, but I'm tired of people doing stuff in between the play and refs don't catch it. Like, they be trying to bully me out there, and I should have never did it, but it was childish.
What happened between the play? What are you referring to?
I got blocked in the back illegally, and it was in front of the ref. The ref didn't do anything, and just stuff like that. And I could have got hurt off of that, but it's still I still shouldn't have done that. So.
That was in that game. You're talking about someone hit you in the back?
Yeah.
Hit you in the back?
Yes.
So Juju in particular was the one that hit you? Or?
Yes.
Yeah. Was there other things that they were doing just in terms of maybe rubbing it in?
This sounds like his parents
Yeah,
talking
they
to
were.
him. Who else
It was
hit
a
you?
lot of stuff, but I should
what
have
else
showed it
happened?
between the whistle. Not after the game, and I apologize for that.
It was childish, but
I had all these reasons.
But here's the thing, though. He did get blocked. So I totally understand why you would react like that, because typically guys in the NFL don't get blocked.
Listen,
you don't typically get blocked in the middle of a game.
How many guys in a game have a potential penalty committed against them? You can't expect them to not carry it with them the entire game and then react after.
Yeah.
I mean, man, can you imagine seeing somebody getting penalized out there?
They got blocked
and not getting called.
Well, the thing is, though,
he could have been injured, so he's going to try and injure him after the game.
I could have been injured.
So I'm
also,
going to injure him.
Not only that, he could have been injured, but also, like, you know, if they threw the penalty, is he good with it then? Because he didn't go and punch the ref for not throwing the penalty. He went and punched Juju Smith-Schuster for hitting him. So does it become not a play where you could have gotten injured if they threw the flag? Or if they threw the flag, you were still going to go and punch him? Because you're going to have to square that circle with me, because you were mad about the no penalty, but you didn't say anything to the ref. You said something to Juju after the game is over, and you cheap shot at him.
So you think he's saying stuff out there? I mean, he's only been fined 11 times now.
No.
In a little over 2 years in the league.
He's been as clean of a player of anybody that's been fined
He's
10 times the last
victim.
2 years.
He is a victim.
Of all the people that were fined 7 times last year and 3 times already this year, he's as clean as
He's
it gets.
the most innocent of all of them.
Right. 100%.
What do we call this? You had Malice at the Palace. What do we have? Like,
this is
attitude at Arrowhead.
This is your typical bully behavior. This is boxer trying to convince you that he's the bag. Right? This is what it is. Yeah, that's what it is.
And he's going to have to give up the bag, I think, probably after this one.
Give
Brian
up the bag,
Batch will.
bag.
At least this,
He's
at least
the
Stephon
one doing
probably.
the hitting, but he says he's the one getting hit.
Yeah, he's getting hit. Yeah,
that's
he
right.
thinks he's the bag.
That's right. And that's what happens when you think you're going to walk in and push a team around, which has been a common misconception about this. And like Chris Sims, that said the Chiefs weren't in the Ravens class, and then the Chiefs beat down the Ravens. And then before this game said the Lions were just going to run all over the Chiefs all day and pick the Lions to win. And then after the game saying the Chiefs just showed how tough they were and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, how are we 8 years into this with Patrick Mahomes and this Super Bowl run? How do we still act like the Chiefs are some finesse team? Like, apparently it's like they're just like, just only running deep, and they got speedsters everywhere, but if they hit them, then they're going to fold, and you got to be tough with, punch them in the mouth. Like, how many times have we heard players throughout the years on the opposition talk about the Chiefs and go, well, you just punch them in the mouth. And then you get punched. And I think that's what the Lions thought was going to happen. And then they got bullied, and it pissed them off that they were not able to just push the Chiefs around the way that they expected, because the Chiefs, for whatever reason, they have this narrative around them that they're not a tough team when they're an incredibly physical team. Defensively, they're incredibly physical. And offensively, the offensive line's pretty physical. Mm-hmm. And Pacheco's there too, right? Juju Smith-Schuster, I mean, one of the things that he loves to do is block.
Who did Hunt run over there at the end?
Oh, Rock Yasim?
Yeah, it was
Rock
Yasim.
He rocked Yasim.
Yeah, he rocked Yasim.
He rocked the Casbah and Yasim on that one. I just don't understand that when somebody comes away from that game going, wow, they really showed how physical they were. I mean, where have you been? Like, watch the actual games that are taking place, and you'll see that teams have thought they could come in and push the Chiefs around. And Brian Branch didn't have Kadarius Toney to help him this go around. The Lions weren't gifted a win by Kadarius Toney, and therefore it pissed them off. And they went and reacted like that. And it was, it was childish.
I don't know if I've ever seen. I mean, whenever you see
childish but warranted based on that play.
Whenever you see the the pop to the face, right? Mm-hmm. It's preceded by a lot of John and a few shoves and everything, and also it's during the game. I've never seen 2 handshakes out there.
Yes.
Yeah, the video, I don't even think Juju's saying anything. My first reaction was like Juju's giving him crap for being a poor sport and laughing at him. But I don't know if he said anything to him. 2 hands extended, and he get the pop.
Mahomes also tried to give him a high five or tried to shake his hand, and he walked right past him. And then Mahomes
that's what started. And then he
patted him on the back with a smile. Is like, all right, dude. Okay, because Mahomes then got in the end zone when he scored the rushing touchdown, and he spins off a branch.
Yeah, who
and
hit him like 4 or 5 yards into the end zone?
And he starts
just a little
flexing.
nudge.
But it was
which
great.
is fine. Whatever. It's
I know,
football. There's
but it's
extra
great.
stuff.
He
and he flexes back.
He starts flexing, and Brian Branch points to the flag, and Mahomes goes,
like,
"That's on you.
That's on you.
That's on you," and walks away with the.
I love how he pointed to the flag,
wiping his jersey off.
The biggest free play ever. Everybody saw it. I thought they were going to blow it dead. I thought they blew it dead because it was
that
so
far
bad.
across the line. It's like, oh, flag. That's on you, brother.
I love how he pointed to the flag.
Yeah, and like Aiden Hutchinson with the incredibly late roughing the passer,
Yeah.
and Andy Reid and
that
Patrick Mahomes
was
going,
like face
"Dude,
mask
what
to face
the,
mask
yeah,
too. It
What
wasn't
the bleep are you doing, man?"
That's
and also, by
roughing
the
the
way,
passer in 1988. Like that,
Yeah,
that was,
you're right.
That was 3 or 4 steps.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like
Yeah.
it was. Oh, I saw someone go. Of course, Mahomes flops. I'm like,
he didn't flop.
He didn't flop. He's
Like,
6'5". Like yeah, he's like, what are we doing?
6'5".
No, Aiden Hutchinson.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
sorry.
he's a big dude. I'm like, do you think he's not gonna get rocked by a 6'5", 280
And he's not
pound
expecting
guy?
it because he's always completed his throw. His hands are down by his sides.
but what was great is so they're up 20-17. You've got that 3rd and goal, and
That
they
was
throw
a
the
huge play, by the way. They kept it was 2nd and long, right?
It was 2nd and 7,
Yeah.
so it would have been 3rd and 7. But 3rd and goal at the 3, they hit Hollywood Brown wide open over the middle, and as Mahomes is running to Hollywood, he passes Hutchinson, and he says something to Aiden Hutchinson.
You see it.
He says something to Aiden Hutchinson. I would love to know what he said to Aiden Hutchinson. We'll get it when the
I
quarterback
saw it
part 4
looked
comes
like he
out.
did say, "What the."
Yeah, he was like, "What the bleep are you doing?" Like,
Yeah.
what's
And
why?
here's the problem: whether you're catching a Lions guy or a Chiefs guy saying it, people assume that's the only words that are being said, and they don't realize that 50 other things are being
so many things are being
tossed back
said.
and forth.
So many things are being said that when the Chiefs play the Colts and Chris Jones says something to Matt Ryan that gives them an automatic first down, Matt Ryan goes, "I would love to tell you what he said, but I don't remember." Like we talked to him in Tahoe that next year, and he was like, or when he first year that he was retired, and he was like, "I promise you, I would say it." He's like, "I would tell you what he said." He goes, "I have no idea. I don't remember. There's so much talking things that are going on. I have no idea what he said. I just know that I was walking off the field and I turned around and there's a penalty, and then we got an extra down and set it down, so we went and scored a touchdown and won the game
Because Chiefs got all the calls.
Well, yeah, that's true. And the Chiefs get all the calls, like the 13 of them they had last week. You know,
Oh,
but
I
of course
already
that
heard
means,
Rex Ryan today.
I
they
heard it
cleaned
too.
that. They cleaned that up pretty quick.
They cleaned
didn't
that up for him, didn't they?
Oh my God. What are
yeah,
we
that's
doing?
that's called coaching, Rex. Learn it.
The Lions, by the way. Can I have this crew for every football game I ever watch?
Yes, please.
Let
Who's the
both
white
teams
hat?
play.
They were great.
Rolstead.
Yeah, even I was fine with the. Was it on Worthy the 4th down they didn't get? Was it Worthy where the guy got there a little bit early?
I was fine with
he had
that.
his hand, and he wasn't pulling him. I don't think. I think that was fine. It was good. And then, so they had 4 penalties accepted, right?
Yep.
3 are black and white. 3 are like you cannot do this.
Easy.
Right? There's no arguing. You could, I guess, argue the pass interference. I think you'd be wrong, but at least you could argue.
You could
like,
argue
you
it
could argue
because
and say,
they let him play most of the game. But like
Right.
the whole point was, I loved it because they just said, okay, the players are going to make the calls here. They're going to let him play. We're going to let him be physical.
No holdings. Not one holding.
Yeah.
Right? Either way.
Yeah.
That was great.
Craig Rolstead. And by the way,
It was Rolstead? Okay.
Yeah, Rolstead.
If that guy more games.
The
Every game I ever watched for any team at any level.
The Lions had double the penalties the week before against the Bengals, and somehow just cleaned it up. To only have 4 against the Chiefs. I mean, it's just I don't understand how they were able to cut their penalties in.
We're so
half.
back, by the way. We're so back. If the
now
people are,
blaming the refs.
One of my favorite ones
for a
was
13-point win. It's the refs' fault that they won by 2 touchdowns.
One of my favorite was I saw the Jared Goff one where they go, yeah, but how do you call that a penalty? Like you can't call, like even though it's black and white, like literally in the rule book says that's a penalty.
I mean, Terry McCauley, I think he turned his microphone on himself.
He was like,
said,
"This is what they're talking about."
But I love it because they said, like, I'm seeing people go, well, it was such a cool play, so fun, like no fun league. They must hate the Lions. And I go. So then you must also say
Kadarius and Travis.
So
Yes.
you must have wanted the Kadarius one to stand then too, right? You thought that was a silly
such a cool
penalty.
Play. It's a great call.
It's a cool play.
Yeah, let's hear Andy Reid. This is clip number 9 last night because while they were celebrating and Tirico and Collinsworth were ignoring what was going on the field with the officials to the point that Terry McCauley had to come on and say, "Hey guys, this is a penalty here, and this is what they're." And then it all of a sudden showed the refs talking. Right, so here's Andy Reid was asked about this. I think the Todd Lebo's question is in this as well about what his vantage point, what the refs were saying to him when that whole thing got overturned.
15 plays and they got down there and it looked like they scored a touchdown. Were you aware of the
Yeah, actually, the official told me right away what went on. So, yeah. But it was weird. And so you don't see that very often. It was a different kind of play, too. So they're very creative in what they do. And, that one didn't get set. So that was.
Yeah, so they scored the touchdown. And then.
I mean, the PAT teams were out on the field.
They were walking on the field, but the refs were talking the whole time. And then the ref, I guess, tells Andy Reid, hey, here's what's going on, and told him, and as they continue to talk, then they come up with the fact that it was a penalty. It's clear as day. It was a penalty. And it's like, this is the same thing with the Eagles Super Bowl when Juju Smith-Schuster won the route, okay, juked the guy, cut inside, faked, and then was going back outside the only way that whoever it was that grabbed him. Bradbury grabs him to pull him because he's beat. So Juju wins that one, and so they're mad because a correct penalty was called at that time. And last night, people are complaining that a correct penalty was called because they had to come together and talk about it. And, of course, it's going to benefit the Chiefs. And then, of course, that's it was such a cool play. Like, I don't know.
But I mean, at least pass interference or holding on the defense, that's like block charge, right? It can be a coin flip. People see it different ways. I mean, that's black and white.
Yeah.
And explain.
I didn't know the rule. I appreciate Terry McCauley saying
so here's the deal. I've had different people try to explain it to me who have very different or varying ways or how they understand the game. So if he would have gone under center for a second, could he have gone in motion and still not stopped?
As soon as he went and touched the center, he then had to back away and pause at some point. So he had to establish himself as not under center. So if he was in the shotgun and everybody's set, then he can run to the left if he wants to, and they can snap it to David Montgomery.
He doesn't have to shift. He can still be in motion at the snap.
He can still be in motion, but as soon as he went under center, and what was it Collinsworth, I think, that said, I'm assuming the play here was that Jared Goff was never supposed to go under center.
If he had been a shotgun, he would have been okay.
He was never supposed to go under center and then go in motion. He was like, there's no way they taught it this way and not know that you have to establish yourself if you're the quarterback either in the shotgun away from the offensive line, or you have to come to a pause at some point after moving away from the center.
So tell me this: if he's under center, right, and then he immediately breaks in motion, is that illegal motion too? If he's moving at the snap,
yes. Yeah, he has to.
Even though he paused under center.
Yeah,
okay.
Once he breaks away from the center, he's got to stop at some point.
He got to stop at some point.
So he can break away the center, come back to be the shotgun.
That's how you see it a lot of times.
Yes.
You see them, they break and go to shotgun.
But I guess if you broke from the center and you were, backpedaling to the shotgun and the center snapped it, that would be illegal motion then, right? Even though it's the court, because he wouldn't have then
You're
stopped.
moving still.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're still moving. I don't know. I didn't know the rule.
Shout out to the refs for actually. I mean, how often have they ever seen that play? Technically, they got no help. Well, I mean, who knows if someone came down and said, "Hey,
I wonder if they did."
I know they said after they said no.
I think they should, and if it's against the Chiefs, I think they should. It's fine.
I was still impressed with
let's
that
go.
because they said after the game, Matt Derrick asked a lot of questions. We can ask him more on Friday. Matt Derrick was talking to the pool report about this. And basically they said, no, we all got together and we all had to piece together what we saw because we were all looking at different things, and they came to that conclusion of we're not allowed to get outside help, and we all came that this is an illegal play. I'm like, if that's the case, shout out to them because they maybe have never seen that ever in any level because that's a unique play call, a unique thing, and they got it right on the field. I mean,
I feel like they see formations so often, right, to where like when somebody's off the line of scrimmage, I think their eyes can just tell them, okay, that's 5 in the backfield there. Or if this guy was shifting as this guy is still in motion. It's just that something was weird to all of them, and they got together and
to know the technicality in the Raiders game with the fumble, that because it was a dead ball or whatever, then that movement was not a false start. It became an illegal shift where it could have been a false start if the clock, whatever it was. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Learn Funniest Best coming up next. really get engulfed in this. Funniest from that is a good one, K-Dog. Funniest from the weekend for you.
Did you see the shirtless Oklahoma State fan?
That was also amazing.
Okay, grassroots effort starts with one guy. So a guy in this empty section of the Oklahoma State Stadium, Boone Pickens, shocker, takes his shirt off. He's by himself. The whole section start waving it over his head. Like a couple minutes later, another guy joins him. 2 minutes later, it's like 4 guys there.
Yes.
And then they tell their friends, and then they tell their friends. Here it is. I'm playing it for you. And eventually, like within several minutes, the entire section is full of dudes with their shirts off, waving their shirts over their head for the worst team in college football.
It's electric.
It was so funny.
So awesome, dude.
I love all the Oklahoma State.
It was the best thing that's happened to that team.
The women's
in years.
basketball team. You saw the wrestling team coaches like, yeah, you can come and do this at our game.
Wait, that women's basketball team?
They were out there too?
No, they said come. The coach is like, can't wait to see you guys out.
Look how it's hundreds of people.
Yeah.
He started a movement.
There are hundreds of us.
Hundreds of us.
Hundreds of us.
What was the funniest for you from the weekend, Michael?
So mine dates back to Thursday Night Football when the Eagles lost. Jalen Hurts always has something eloquent or smart to say after a loss, and he said a wise competitor approaches them all the same. And somebody quote tweeted that tweet and said drafted to be a backup, wins the job, wins a Super Bowl carried by the defense and a run game, total cornball, just realized he's Russell Wilson.
I saw someone say stop with the fortune cookies or the fortune
that's pretty good too.
Yeah, the fortune
he speaks
cookie
in riddles.
Yes. My funniest is this was post game in the Tampa Bay locker room. The Bucks got the win over the weekend over the 49ers. They were up 20-19. And the long 45-yard touchdown from Baker Mayfield to Tez Johnson. He had a big game. That one catch for 45 yards and a touchdown put him up 8. So they interviewed Tez Johnson, who tells a funny story about what happened right after catching the football.
I'm going to tell you a funny story. This is crazy. When I score and I hit MVP chant, I'm thinking they talking about me. So I asked Shep. I'm like, Shep, they were chanting MVP? He was like, yeah. I was like, I ain't do nothing this year. And then he was like, they talking about Baker, Tez. I was like, well, that explains it. But when he got the first down on, he said he blacked out. But, I mean, that's just Baker. Pump fake get everybody. Oh, my God, he's a dog. I don't know what he eating. Put in his cereal before the game. That guy won it every single week.
Oh, that was great. I went to Shep. I didn't even do nothing this year. They're chanting MVP for Baker. That makes sense. There we go.
Now. I want to hear him speak more and Xavier Legette speak more. Those two guys, I would love just to have.
Baker's a dog. I don't know what he puts in his cereal before the games, but he's on it every week.
Not in the morning, just before the games. It could be a 7 o'clock game. What does he have before the game?
Best for you from the weekend.
So last week, Matt Foster was shooting a high school football game, and he had a great play, great catch from a Blue Springs South kid, and he hashtagged SportsCenter Top 10 Plays. And not only did SportsCenter run it, and not only did they highlight the kid making the catch, they also somehow highlighted Matt. Here it is.
Kansas City, Blue Springs South, a lot of words. Lee Summit North, that's high school football. That's White Denny. White Denny.
They tracked that ball real
nice grab. Yeah, nice shot, too. By the MMJ, who I know is
underpaid, I'll say. Number 7, more high school.
He's compensated fairly, guys.
I agree with that. Probably underpaid.
But that was great for them to shout out the MMJ, which is what is multimedia journalist. Basically means you're a one-man band out there. And Matt getting that shot there. He does shoot some good football.
Yes.
Shoots tight.
My best for you, Michael?
My best was the new arrowheads on the field. We actually put those down. They were a logistical nightmare, but they looked great on the Sunday Night Football cam.
Well, did you get to hang out with Kaylee Hartung?
No.
Okay, she had a whole story this morning on the Today Show about the pyrotechnics team.
Well, they
Arrowhead.
should have asked us because
yeah, she went through. She was like meeting with the pyrotechnics
was
team,
pushing the button.
Yeah, all of the fireworks, how it works, and everything. All of the everything. I thought about you.
All I am is the muscle. We just put it on the field.
That makes sense. She might have liked to meet the muscle. I don't know. Is that your nickname?
No,
the muscle.
Michael, where's the muscle at? He's right over there.
Meet the muscle. Just don't take out the word the.
Meet the muscle. I thought for sure you were going to be a part of that story with Kaylee. My best from the weekend is that with Joe Flacco starting for the Bengals, the Browns officially this year are paying now 6 quarterbacks not on their team.
Wow.
Not playing this year. Now, not playing this year, not on their team. One of them is Deshaun Watson. But Joe Flacco, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Jameis Winston, Kenny Pickett, Bailey Zappi are all getting paid by the Browns now, while they're also paying Dylan Gabriel and Shadur Sanders. So 8 different quarterbacks they are paying this year. Only 2 of them are playing for their team with Joe Flacco. The best for you, Sterling?
It was just the masculine caveman urge to sit
cool.
around and make a fire. Well, like we just made a fire. We're like, we're going to make fire. We're going to do it. And so we just listen to country music, pass around some bourbon bottles, smoke cigars
Just
while
like just like the
15
caveman.
neutrals deep.
Yeah.
You
We
said
finished a
fire.
few bottles. We just some Pappy. And a little
Good,
Pappy
there you
Van
go.
Winkle
Yeah,
there.
good for you.
Delicious. And
Good for you.
yeah. So I think the caveman urge to do that is just strong. It never leaves us.
So did you make the fire
I was
yourself?
going to say the caveman urge to put lighter fluid on
And
it and do like
butane.
one of
Well,
the,
we actually ran out of butane. So we
Oh
had
my
you
God.
had to keep
Did you use
kind
a flint rock?
You had to keep blowing.
All right, wrapping up the show. Thank you, Mick Schaefer.
Anytime.
Yeoman's work you
Unless
did today.
it's a Tuesday or a Thursday.
What
That's
about
a
a
good point.
Saturday?
Hell no.
Yeah, no. What about Sunday?
Way.
What about Sunday?
It gets me out of regular work. I would come in
Good
here.
point.
Yeah.
It's a good point. You know, I was.
It's a long day yesterday.
I was sad that I couldn't sound off yesterday. I really wanted to. There was so much
I was
sounding
on the
off.
panel.
I know. So much sounding off I wanted to
They
do
asked me
yesterday.
if the Chiefs were a ride at Worlds of Fun, what would they be? Greatest question ever.
Mamba.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Twists and turns, not always a smooth ride,
But the peaks,
they're the best every year.
And when you get to the peak,
oh yeah,
it's the highest
Yeah?
peak.
Okay.
Mamba. Bills of the Timberwolf.
Fury
I
of the
love the
Nile.
Timberwolf, though.
Fury of the Nile.
Everybody does, but they're just not
Yeah.
going to beat the Mamba.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's weird. I wanted to sound off last night, but then when you came on, I did turn the sound off.
Thank you.
I'm
Appreciate
just
it.
joking. I listened to it.
You know I'm
you and
muting his
Kevin
watch.
killed it.
That makes sense, yeah. Eye candy.
You killed it.